Hope it's on policy.
Yay.
Partly.
Okay.
Wouldn't yay, but it's partly that, yeah.
Excited to get to it.
It's moving, moving.
At the budget.
Just last minute.
Oh, but this.
Hi, Almond.
Kim, who I think is gonna zoom in, wanted to do a flat rate for her. I don't.
Is Kim coming?
You gonna zoom in?
She said she was probably going to Zoom.
Okay. Yeah, she said she would.
This is the camera.
Yeah.
That's not what we voted on.
So I'm in the hot spot.
No,
We didn't vote on that.
we didn't vote on any of those except for.
No, these are the ones during budgeting that we did.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But we didn't do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not even on the agenda.
No, I'm just here to forward the painting estimate for the park.
Oh, did you get it?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Yeah.
I sent it, yeah.
It's in here somewhere. Oh, okay. Do we want to deal with that?
It's probably under 13 old business, but we can move it up.
And did you get my emails on the generator stuff that going back and forth?
Did you agree to build us a platform?
What we're trying to decide, talk to Jeff, is whether a pad or.
I think it's gonna be a pad with the thing on top.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of like we did at Toulouse,
Yes,
digging down
exactly.
5 feet.
I think we have to.
Because of the water.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna call a meeting to order.
Sure. Sorry. Just
Changes to the agenda.
Hold on, wait for.
sorry. It's gonna
Sorry.
be loud.
Recording in progress.
Oh, it's Kim. Hi, Kim. God, I hardly recognize you in red.
All right. We should be all set.
Okay, changes to the agenda. We've got a bunch of old and new business. Yeah, let's do striping right after public comment and minute approval. Is that okay with you? Okay.
Yes, it should be under behind number 13.
Okay, so public comment. Take it away.
Oh, you and maybe already taken yours, Chris.
No. East Green Mountain Power.
I don't think we can decide it anyway.
Good evening. Gloria Dawson and I are here representing my community nurse project. And thank you for this. Something that we'd like to bring to your attention that's coming out of North Star, which is the overseeing corporation that has taken over Springfield Hospital. So with your permission, may I give you these?
Sure, yeah.
So this is a copy of the job description for a new position called community healthcare worker, health worker, which will be a joint position between Mountain Valley and Ludlow clinics.
Thank you.
Will be housed by a local social service agency in London. And this position could potentially cause some confusion in the community because I cover 610s in my community nurse project. And the towns that I cover are the ones, you know, Londonderry, South Londonderry, Weston, Peru, Lengrove, and Andover. We just about topped 1,000 home visits in the month, in the year of 2023.
I was gonna say, it must have been a hell of a
Yeah,
month.
it was a terrible month.
Yeah.
But actually in the month of May, we sent 5, we called the rescue squad 5 times. 4 of those people were admitted with either COVID or the H flu, and the 5th one was admitted on the 2nd time that I visited all the rescue squad. So that was just in the month of May. So I digress, because what I want you to be aware of is what the position is advertised as. I don't want it to be confused with what my community nurse project does for our community. And so this position that you're looking at is a paid position by North Star to bring patients into the clinics. It is a push by Medicare and Medicaid, Center for Medicare and Medicaid, to connect the community with healthcare. And it is a billable position through Medicare and Medicaid. So each time the community health worker visits a home, there will be a bill generated to Medicare and Medicaid. As you know, my community nurse project does not charge anyone for care. Whether it's a Friday, a Saturday, or Sunday, and we pretty much work 7 days a week. So I just bring this to your attention because the towns have supported us, all 5 towns have supported us in a very generous way. And I don't ever want you to think that what we provide is in competition with what a community worker can offer. This position looks pretty basic. It is a fresh hop out of the toaster sort of position that doesn't really have a lot of requirements. And I think that what they're asking is pretty comprehensive. What we do is sometimes life-saving. What we do is sometimes guiding in terms of families who need to get care for their loved ones, including long-term care in places like Equinox Terrace. What we do is meet the patient where they are and bring them what they need. So if that means they just had surgery and we're bringing them some meals on the weekend, we can do that. There's a master at that. And I think we do it on a shoestring budget. We don't petition the towns for a great amount of money. We've not increased our request over the 5 years that we've been in existence. And quite frankly, I am hugely appreciative of the donations from the town. So I would not want those to cease because the town board does not understand that the community health worker is a paid position through Medicare and Medicaid and is not going to be anywhere near, if I can ring my own bell here, in the same manner of offering services that we offer with 45 years of experience, a master's degree and a nurse practitioner certification, and a huge interest in the betterment of the healthcare of our community. I just throw that out to you because I have to get ahead of this and I have to let the community know in terms of what it's going to mean for you when you come to disseminating funds. I'll have to talk to Londonderry. I'll have to go back to Peru, Andover, and
Well, I don't understand. We have community members that do not use North Star.
that's correct.
So-
So in that case, if you're not a clinic member at Mountain Valley or at the Ludlow Clinic, then you would not get the services of the healthcare worker because it's specifically meant to generate healthcare services and bring them back to clinics so that clinics generate income as well.
But wouldn't you collaborate with
I hope that that's
them
the
as
way.
well
I
and vice
hope-
versa?
I would hope that that would
It's
be
written
the,
into the job description.
does it say my community nurse project?
No, but it says local health and social service organization.
It would be.
Wouldn't you
wonderful.
qualify for that?
I would hope so. I certainly would hope so. But I just wanted you all to know that you're going to read about it. It's already been advertised. The position has not been filled. And I think if you heard about it, you'd say, well, I wonder how this works with my community nurse project. And I just want you to remember that, you know, we're out there and we're doing our job. And I think it's, you know,
I think we know what you're doing. I think that this is kind of strange for me that they're going to set up shop at Neighborhood Connections. We have people that use Rutland Regional, we have people that use Grace Cottage, you know. You work with these people, you're all over the place. So this just seems a little like directing, a little too much North Star.
well, I think North Star has a right to try to put community workers in the community for their clinics, but that doesn't mean that those workers would go to you and say, I know you're not a member of the Mountain Valley Clinic population, but we were asked to see you. That would not happen.
Well, they're setting up shop at Neighborhood Connection. So if they were sitting at the health center and they were sitting at Woodlow Clinic, I would say completely independent, it's on their own, running their own. Neighborhood Connections has been sort of an everybody thing, and I know this isn't the right word, non-denominational.
Right.
You can go anywhere you want to go.
Thank you, Betty. Right, it takes care of.
So,
There is a community health worker working in South Burlington, and that's a really urban, as you know, urban community, and it works really well because it's a large population, it's a direct way to get to the actual home of the person, maybe, you know, check on blood pressure or bring a person to clinic if they look like they need to be brought to clinic. It could work differently in our communities, and I think you just need to know about it.
if you hear any updates, I'd appreciate an update on this. Who they're hiring, who they're going to be meeting with, how they're gonna be targeting the clients.
I
guess
really
I'd
like
say.
to know that too, so if I hear that, I will.
Yeah, they're not very clear about it.
Yeah, it's vague, and I get it if it's new, but opening a position and then figuring out the details is not usually how you do things. Usually the details kind of get worked out so that we know who they're gonna target, who they're looking for, how they're gonna help those people. And I agree, those that use North Star and wish to use it, by all means. But putting them in a place that we all feel safe with, which is Neighborhood Connections. Anyone can go there, whether they want to be taken to Grace Cottage or whether they want to go to Rutland Regional, you know, those kind of,
It's a
that's
really
my
good point.
concern.
I hadn't even thought of that aspect of it. We take referrals from
I
everywhere.
know you do. I know you do.
You know, lawyers and medical centers and neighbors, and we actually this year have taken referrals from places like Shaftesbury, not that I would go there, but Arlington, Dorset, people who are looking for help in terms of guiding through, usually it's a process with a mother or a brother who needs care, and they heard about us and what can you do to help us, and we do help them. You know, we don't say, well, we can't because you're not in our catchment area. So
Right, and-
we do cover a lot of ground.
And you cover all aspects of the insurance, from Medicaid, Medicare to private insurance, Blue Cross, and all of those.
It doesn't
So-
matter because
Right.
we don't ask for money.
And this I wanna make sure is like an everybody thing too, otherwise it doesn't serve the purpose. It's really easy to target Medicaid, Medicare people. So I have a special protection of certain Medicare, Medicaid people, and so that's why it's just, it's really targeted.
Actually, I'm a social worker by profession. It sounds more like a social work job than a community health worker. Like there's a lot of information gathering and probably paperwork and things like that. And it could be beneficial.
It could be,
to
yeah,
us,
it
you
could
know,
be.
and so-
And particularly if it's the right person in the right place
Right.
and they do collaborate, that's another asset
Yes, that's right.
that the community may be able to leverage and need, so.
Yeah, can be, you don't know.
Okay,
You don't know.
thanks for bringing it to our
Okay.
attention.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks
Thanks,
for letting us
Gloria.
Yeah, keep us, I mean, if you hear anything, let us know.
Okay, will do. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Gloria.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
You're not gonna stay for the rest of the.
I did a
She doesn't even
It's
get
available.
home.
Are you feeling okay,
Yes.
Chris? Because if you need some medical attention, don't stay. Otherwise, they're out of there. Okay, meeting minutes.
Sean was going back over.
I
really corrections. They'll sign
I've got a couple of,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. On the May 28th, the third line from the bottom on the first page, it's a retaining wall. And that was all I
Oh,
had
yeah.
on that.
Potato.
Yeah. The retainer is what they put in
Retainer
a
wall.
9-year-old's mouth when the
Dental,
teeth are
yeah.
starting, never mind. Anyway, anybody have any other comments? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
Are we approving one or both?
Just May 28th.
Just-
Yeah,
Just me, okay.
go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from May 28th.
I second.
Any other discussion or questions, comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I,
Hold on, I've got it in here somewhere. I'm gonna just,
Sign now.
here, I'm gonna change.
Yeah, I can just reprint the first page.
We'll run it this way, that way you're sure to get your pen back.
right.
Okay, moving on to the 11th, June 11th. See, I had, what I had. Oh. Second line from the top on page 2. Mrs. McKenna would like to use the village green, and the little school wanted to have a clear understanding. I think it was the green.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. And then first line on item 7, delinquent tax report, reviewed, last word.
Oh, yeah.
That was all I had. Anybody, any other comments or questions?
You had sent some in, right? Didn't you, Lisa, from one of these? No? That might have
I
been
think
the
what
week
time before, yeah.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from June 11th.
And I will second.
Any other discussion, questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
I, yeah, so I'm wrong. There is a typo on that. I knew that was a typo. I should have. Pay scale.
Oh, yeah,
So.
yeah,
hold
that's
up,
an
guys.
important one.
The date was incorrect.
On the last
third
page.
It should say July 1st, 2024.
4, okay. I was wondering about that, but then I was like, I don't, maybe it is for,
Yeah,
It is.
Sorry.
no
You
problem.
were
What's
right,
it?
I'm
you were
just
right, Howie.
What's a year?
You're. Let's ask Norman what a year is. Okay.
Thank you.
okay, striking quotes. Oh, where are they, under 3?
13.
13 or they, or,
Just
yeah,
stuck at the end, and she gave us another copy. separate. Top of something, yeah. Mr. Chairman, I'll assist.
So they didn't have any, what, yeah, so from the Crossworks,
2 handicap in front of the playhouse,
Mhm.
2 crosswalks. Can you just identify them for Shauna to write down?
Yeah. I finally got to meet with him last Wednesday,
yeah,
and we discussed the crosswalks in front of the playhouse. And because I know how you don't like a lot of paint, he was only gonna do 2 lines and not the crosshatches,
not the Seaver
because
Street.
that's legal.
Oh,
And then, but the handicap have to have the blue and the wheelchair.
yeah,
He goes right by the uniform traffic control, or
Yeah.
he doesn't vary from it. And then there'll be a few arrows pointing down the road this way, because you have to have that for people that can't read. And we're not putting up signs, so
yeah,
he would put a few arrows in, and then the cross block, the stop blocks here. by
okay,
the flower pot.
okay. So no stop sign, just the stop blocks.
Okay,
Yeah,
so tell me what the stop block looks like. It's a line, I can,
It's
Big-
a 1 foot wide white strip.
right? And does it say STOP? It will not,
It will
okay,
not. It's
so
just a
2
white-
just the white strips,
White
and it
strip.
will be on either side of the planter.
Plant.
Now, you know I use that to turn around in,
A lot of people.
Yeah.
do.
Me too.
I'm gonna continue.
I'm
to
gonna
do that.
report you every time.
And then it's,
The
it
rest
will
of the
be
world
2
is too.
2 parking spots on the other side of the crosswalk at the walkway of the playhouse, the main walkway from the park. And then diagonal cross parking spots down here to the corner. And then it'll be the parking spots here in front of the little school, and then parking spots in front of the fence on the other side.
Okay. So the diagonals will just be on Park Street,
Just beyond Park Street.
right?
to
It'll all
the-
be parallel on
To,
Lawrenceville.
yeah, to the flower pot.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah,
And he's booked out already till the end of July.
We're only staying on the little school side of Lawrenceville, we're not putting
No,
parallel on that side.
Both
are-
sides,
both sides.
On both sides?
both sides of the, that's what my understanding was.
You want around, on the Park Street side of Lawrence
On the,
Hill?
on the, for our park side of Lawrence Hill. Yeah, cars park there all the time.
I'm not saying they do, but I don't know that we put, I'm just saying, would it, like,
Were they there before? Lisa and I were looking at
Years and
those.
years
And
ago.
I remember there being spaces there
I'm just.
marked, but
I think it would be,
just asking, because
yeah,
I agree with having parking spaces along this side. That's.
Which we can do, I can tell him,
Well, we're just trying to come to a consensus.
Yeah.
I think you felt that there was gonna be both sides, and I'm looking at the space available for cars and where they're going to park and open a door into the metal,
they do it now.
right? And then we have 2-lane traffic that's trying to get through and they can't because people are not
but
parking.
but people are parking on, little school, people are parking, or any kind of event, people are parking on both sides of Lawrence Hill.
just going to the
Yeah.
post office and.
It's better to have it striped so that it's a little organized.
Yeah,
instead of
so that
just
the
free for
drivers
all.
can see it, and then you get the center line. Will there be a center line on Lawrence
Center
Hill?
line,
Not on Lawrence
that's
Hill.
class 2, so that.
That's
No,
high, that's
no,
state
okay.
aid.
State.
Right, so
Okay.
we're putting parking spaces on a state highway and
And
that's okay.
Presumably then the state will put a yellow center line on that road,
presumably.
Double passing.
yeah.
And hopefully not around the park.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Okay, diagonal on the, around the park,
right,
till we get to the crosswalk, and then there'll be 2
stop blocks,
2 handicap and
In the
2
vicinity of the
Mhm,
handicap sign,
Sign,
which is still there.
mhm.
Yeah.
And then what will be at the entrance? So we're gonna have a stop block here, what will be at that other entrance?
We weren't gonna put anything
Perfect,
there.
I like to turn around there too.
you
No,
just
it's
cut
because-
your parking tickets
It's
down
because
by
that's
half.
always actually been 2-way, because when the playhouse is open, delivery rigs usually
Mhm.
just shoot right straight out. That's never been cut off.
Okay.
It's mostly behind the park, it's been a one way.
It confused the state highway department guys.
So it confuses
They
a
were
lot,
here.
I've seen a lot of people, they turn, they go left. I don't know that the stop block is going to stop them from going that way. All I can
Neither
hope
did
is
we.
that
Stop
there's
sign.
When we were standing there, we actually witnessed two cars go down Lawrence Hill.
an angle left.
One came here to turn onto Route 100 North, and the other one cut through behind the park real fast to get ahead of them.
Yeah, it's always a toss up as to where they're gonna go. And which, like, I like when they go to the left and then sharp right all the way around. That's,
And
All right.
Without the sign, there's not really, if we're just gonna do striping on the ground, there's not a heck of a lot more we can.
But I
do.
just, I tried to keep it simple and
Yeah,
not a lot of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can add what we don't like later, like, I mean, it's not, it is permanent, but it's not that permanent.
no, it only lasts a couple of years.
So you're good with this then? I
Yeah.
hear.
Was this the number that you thought it
That's
was
about
coming
what
in
I
at?
think we budgeted.
I think we did like 35, I thought.
I'll
For,
make-
for everything,
For
but that's
everything.
not,
Okay.
that's just, this is just for Park Street and Lawrence
Just a little
Hill,
bit
yeah.
after that.
Yeah,
I'll make a
Okay.
motion to accept the quote from Green Mountain Line Striping for green
The amount.
for 2520.
I'll second.
any other discussion?
Do it.
And then,
All
like
in
I said,
favor? Aye,
Aye.
He said he was booked out for the end of July.
okay. So do we need to
I'll
Yeah.
let him know.
let them know, and if we need to send a check, we'll see to it? And do we need it, no, we accepted it here.
We accept,
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna
Do we
sign
need to
this.
sign, just sign it? Yeah. And you're gonna take off. So I'm gonna meet with the generator guy on July 10th.
Yeah.
In the morning. 9 o'clock. I'll send him, yeah, he wants to see this, you know, where it's gonna go and all that. They still haven't ordered the generator yet, so we still got, you know, several weeks for it's even available.
Lisa,
Thank you.
my email.
I will.
But-
sure.
Because that's, Megan said that's what we have to base our grant. Hourly equipment fees.
On the FEMA rate? I mean, at least it's 2018, they're getting there, okay.
I disagree strongly with their equipment rates.
Right, and also I believe you've been using an excavator as well,
Right,
which
and
is
I'm gonna
gonna
need that
fall in
bill.
line with that, so I'll have to get that as well.
That can go your price though, because that's a rent.
Yeah, perhaps, I'm not sure, but yes, I will look up, both trucks, all 3 trucks, Do you want
All
all?
3 trucks, the
Loader
backhoe,
and
the
the
loader,
backhoe.
the grader.
and the grader, you want the whole list, absolutely, all right.
Cause I'm trying to see if we met the 30,000 or if we're gonna have to.
Okay. I will get you the FEMA list. Not tomorrow, but
No, but
Thursday? Okay.
I just, cause Megan said that's to go by that instead of, cause I asked her what the state allows for.
It's crazy. Do you wanna know what, do you wanna
It's
know?
like $45 an hour for a big truck.
And
Your
your disagreement on the-
grader is
is-
$100.
your disagreement is on, is that their rates are on the low side, is that?
Way on the low side. It
That's what
costs
I-
way more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Per hourly.
Yeah,
what Ahmed
yeah.
and I have discussed before is that the getting the grants is great, and if we have to use these numbers, it doesn't make sense for our equipment to do these jobs, because when you have a $500,000 piece of equipment and you pay out at 101 an hour, it is more wear and tear on the equipment
Then you're getting back.
And you're
for it.
getting
than the
back,
time frame that we have allowed for the equipment, so it's not new, we all know that the federal numbers are not in line with they're certainly not in line with what Vermont pays and what Vermont excavation and or equipment charges can be, so I'll get you the list, I'll make your
Florida
day
and
sad on a
Mississippi.
Thursday.
Thank you.
Fair enough, I'll take care of it, thanks, Almond.
Oh, right.
The beanie headlight something, I don't know. I can schedule something if you want, but I just.
You, sir.
All right, are you ready? Can you stand the pressure?
Yes, sir. I can.
Thanks for waiting.
Not a problem, not a problem. I've been on tour, so.
Oh, yeah, I bet you have.
Was in Jamaica last night and.
Yeah.
all around the-
And you are Timothy B. Jones in the flesh, is that right?
Yes,
All right.
correct. Yes, Tim Jones,
God, they,
Green Mountain Power.
yeah,
I'm a T&D program manager, so a transmission and distribution group. And I am currently out canvassing many of the towns here in the southern half of the state as we weigh heavily into our climate resiliency rebuild storm hardening program that we've been working on. Since last summer, we've been focusing a lot of our energies, towns in Warsboro, Dover, we'll be in Jamaica. We've also been doing quite a bit of work down 100, down Route 30, across towns and state forests. This project that we're here to present tonight is the rebuild of our Line 6. So the 3-phase line that essentially runs from Londonderry to Weston here, I guess out by the hub where it again goes the 3-phase. As you know, oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, sorry, you 3-phase and it goes to, and then it
So
turns into
currently,
3-phase?
yeah, there's a line that runs between Londonderry and Weston.
Right,
Most of it is cross country.
yeah,
As you
on the south end.
Yep, as
Yeah.
you leave and come into Weston, that 3-phase line runs cross country and then actually comes out cross country by the hub or over by the Playhouse, and then there's 3-phase that comes from the north down Route 100 and it back feeds the village to a certain point. I think the post office is the end of it, and then just the rest of the single phase here goes up to the gallery, and that's where it ends. So what we are proposing to do is rebuild the line entirely from Londonderry to the hub along Route 100 mostly, and there's some other side work that we need to discuss here tonight. So it's taken us a couple of years.
And when you say the hub, are you talking about the business establishment?
Yeah.
Okay,
The
good,
restaurant.
yeah,
The restaurant.
so that would include Walker, yeah,
So it's taken us a couple of years to design and entitle the project. So we're through all the design. We have all of our easements. We have our 1111 permit from V-Trans. And the last piece of that really now is to canvass the towns where we're going to be working in town road right of ways. And part of also what we're operating under is an Act 250 exemption that we have for a couple more construction seasons that allows us to rebuild projects of this nature in place or by moving them to roadside, which is existing disturbance and so forth. That allows us to work our exemption and not need to go through Act 250, but one of the underlying premises is obviously we meet with each town, get the town's formal permission to go ahead and do our work in the town. So in the 20 or so map tiles you have, each of them represent a fairly small level of detail, but coming from the Weston town line, first thing we get to is Fields Road. There's the line feeds over the river into where the soccer fields are, and then I think it's Boynton Road and Tavern Road.
Old Tavern, yeah,
Old Tavern
yeah.
Road. So what we plan to do there is currently coming down Boynton Road is the 3-phase. So we're going to actually retire a phase from that. I'm getting into some technical jargon here, but we're going to retire a phase from that and only have that be single phase. Same thing with Old Tavern Road.
When you say there's single phase, 2-phase, and 3-phase.
Yeah.
Is the 3-phase, is that what carries the 220?
Yeah, that's the.
So they're not gonna have 220 available on Old Tavern or Boynton?
It depends. I mean, you can have your service. It depends. It's customer choice in terms of how So the three phase is really kind of an express way and
It's a feeder
feeds different
line.
things along the way, but most people are, fed. There is the line up Boynton is actually single phase. So as that line comes cross country three phase into the fields area, then it branches off and serves all of our customers there, and it also comes in from Route 100 over up Fields Road into the soccer field area.
So that doesn't restrict a customer from getting.
Nope, all of it,
220 or-
nope, and everybody's services are gonna remain as is.
Okay.
And we have.
That was
talked to
sort of my
everybody,
only worry.
And so we have talked to, obviously all of our customers that we currently serve that will have some sort of alteration, or we're gonna end up redoing their service and so forth. So people have that opportunity to request, some sort of upgrade, at their cost and so forth. So what we're really doing is rebuilding a three phase express through, but certainly we need to pick up all of the service along the way. So a lot of replace and place, if you will. So as we come up, coming north from Londonderry, there's that section in the Fields Road where again we're retiring a phase coming into that, and we're rebuilding along the road. So the three phase will all be on with Route 100. So south from Londonderry all the way into Weston. There are several sections that are depicted by a blue dotted line on there, where we are going to be undergrounding on private property. So if you were to go down into some of the projects we're actually doing right now in the Townsend, Wardsboro area out in the state forest, we are actually burying miles of power lines. So that's part
It
of.
makes sense. Trees can't get
Exactly.
to it. It's okay.
So the storm hardening, that's sort of the ultimate storm hardening that we have, is to put it underground, bury it, and forget it, is some of the jargon we use. But in this case, most of this line rebuild is going to be overhead. But it's going to be going from old age plant, copper wire, open wire, to 50-foot poles into a spacer, or Hendrix is the name of the company that makes the conductor. So it's basically a diamond pattern at the very top of the pole. All the conductors are there together, grouped, and then there's a steel messenger cable that goes over the top of it. So the premise there is, hardened, thicker wire, tree wire, can take tree strikes. The messenger on top.
Oh,
also,
the wire.
Yep, on top can take the tree strikes and hopefully shed, or the tree can lay there and not take the power out and so forth. Now, obviously we've seen plenty of catastrophic, storm activity in the state the last bunch of years, and so as we learn, as we adapt our technology, this is the latest and greatest three phase rebuild that we can bring. So it goes from that three phase open armed configuration to one type pattern of three conductors in the messenger.
So a 50-foot pole, what was like the old?
Probably in the 35 to 40 foot range. So they're going to be getting taller, but it also allows us to do a little less vegetation management in the long run, right? So it is a stark look when you go out and build it,
right?
Basically trimming straight up, 10 feet outside of, either way, and obviously 10 feet on one side of the road, 10 feet on the other side. So that'll be what the vegetation management pattern will be there. So as we come up, again, the Fields Road piece, we're going to be on town roads there. We do need to meet with your road commissioner. I didn't get a chance to meet Allman. I think a couple of years ago, he had been party to a site meeting, maybe with one of the select board members.
He's our road foreman,
I'm sorry,
road
and Mr.
commissioner.
Ursa is the commissioner.
Yeah, who happens. Yeah,
I noticed the same.
they
name.
share the same last name. That's all I was gonna say. And it's not a common last name, so you can draw
It's like
whatever
Jones,
conclusions.
we're like,
I don't know who it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that is,
Yeah.
so typically,
Fantastic.
we've been going in, presenting, and then certainly coming back for final sign off and so forth has been sort of the typical.
And the
how it
goal is
goes.
to get the lines accessible to you guys, to get there faster,
Correct.
to get there easier.
All
That is
roadside.
the plan.
All can be accessed
All
by a
roadside.
bucket.
Yeah.
And
What will you do with, so for instance, there's a big phase 3 through Dale Road, I believe.
Yep.
Are you gonna take that down?
Yes.
Oh,
So if you look at the maps, and I brought some bigger prints and I'll leave them to Shauna if she wants to, if you have 11x17 capabilities on your printer.
Oh, we
Just to
do.
get a little bit bigger, but Dale
Hey, listen,
Road-
we got 500 people in this town.
Right,
We've
right.
got- and we can do 11x17 printing. I mean,
Let's just.
we're the real deal here.
Let me find Dale Road, because that's,
Yeah, that's a whole lot. You gotta go further than you think to get to Dale.
yeah,
Yeah.
Are the poles, wood or are they?
Yes, they are.
So wood, okay.
Southern White Pine, I believe is the,
Treated with arsenic?
They still sell from
No.
so
no. That's all been abandoned, thankfully.
Thankfully is right, yeah.
So Dale Road is map sheet 23.
I went by, I was on 25, I was at Tim's place there.
Yeah, you,
Yeah, okay. Let's see.
yeah, there's a,
Yeah,
And you
oh,
can
I'm looking at
see-
24, because 24 is, yeah, that's.
And as you go up Dale Road, the blue depicts, overhead, and it comes out, and you can see where the line is. And we're gonna keep some of these lines and retire a phase to keep some of this cross-country where we have customers fed, and then other ways where we're long stretches of no customers will be completely retired. But you can see anywhere where it says retire and the line's grayed out, so
yeah, but there's been a new line is going in, am I right there? On the,
it's sort of replace in place.
Yeah, he's talking about this right here.
oh,
Goes from
yeah,
blue, they keep this.
yeah, and then
retire
retire
that.
this, but this,
Yep.
they're gonna retire.
And we'll rebuild what's on
Yeah.
what's on
This will be
Dale
all
Road.
new, 50
Yeah,
foot,
but they're
going
gonna
up Dale
retire
Road.
that, but it's gonna be new, yeah.
And then when it gets to green, you're just leaving as single phase?
Yeah,
is that
green
kind of-
depicts, not rebuilding
Not
or
rebuilding,
single phase, and
okay.
you'll actually see some nomenclature on some of these lines, it'll say 1/0, which is 1/0 wire, which is the single phase, or 4/0, which is the Hendrix
Mm-hmm.
3-phase that they were building. So if you go to each pole location, you'll get a depiction of what pole number, what size, what class pole. So a 45/3 is a 45 class 3 pole. You'll have the offset from the center line of the road as well, and then some other.
And the offsets are gonna move most of the poles further away from the center line?
Yeah, so
As I saw the markings for some.
yeah, it's been staked, and so we have to stay at least that offset for our V-Trans permit as well. So obviously,
Yeah, so
car strikes.
So
plows,
here in the village, I don't know where the map is for that.
probably one of the last maps.
Yeah, it
there
is.
on Main Street.
And so we're talking that some of those poles are now gonna be in the green.
It's page 31, it's about
Yeah.
5 from the end,
Yeah, 30.
yeah.
I also have a question on 31, the pole in this little triangle out here,
Yes,
is that staying there? It looks like it's staying there.
up by the Playhouse.
No.
By the post office.
One that caught on
Is that the one?
fire.
No, he's talking about the
This-
one
this
at the
one right here?
entrance of Park Street.
Park Street, up by the playhouse.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yep.
That one
yeah.
never gets hit. That pole doesn't get
I
hit.
know,
The
no,
fence
no.
takes it out.
But it, yeah, that's probably well placed except for the old home week stone, which is there in that little triangle. that
Well, we can
is
certainly,
being obscured.
again, rebuilding in place, really just trying to cover the span, so the spacer cable tends to shorter spans. It's heavier wire, so we usually stick to about 250, maximum spans. And so if we can just cover the existing pole configuration, we'll do that. And it also makes it easier for the telecommunications partners to transfer. We're almost.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about all the fiber optic and, what do they call it, the copper,
The old telephone
Internet.
copper and.
yeah.
So our goal is, once we do a project like this, then we inform our telecommunications partners, and then they're on the clock to transfer. I'd
Right.
love to tell you it's hard and fast, this length of time after we're done. Typically, it can take, 2 to 3 years, and that's when we were doing Act 250, that was a typical condition in Act 250 permit. Once Green Mountain Power finishes its last transfer, then the clock starts on the other attachees on the line.
Right. So you leave the old poles up and then they do the transfer, and when all that transfer, but when you put your new poles in, then you hang your wires.
Correct.
And then you transfer from the old wires to the new wires. You just take that big old knife switch that they've got in the Batman movies. And,
Yes.
yeah. And then the other guys kind of come scurrying along and hang their wires on your.
And we would go back and retire all of our conductor. So any place that we're retiring, we will retire it once our new line is built and energized, and then the telecommunications folks will be out there on those poles all by themselves. on the
Okay,
clock to-
So
to-
so you get rid of those old wires first, and then the fiber optic and the so-called telecommunication guys. Yeah. Okay.
They'll follow you, they're gonna go with your poles, they're gonna move, the plan is.
That is the plan. The plan is for everyone to move with us. The same thing when we're doing these underground projects, we're actually putting in a duct for the telecommunications
fiber
companies,
optic.
just to
Nice.
make it one step
Yep.
closer. You know, obviously our budgets are not the same, and you'll hear that from the telecommunications companies in terms of what their abilities are to go everywhere we're going at the same pace we're going.
Right.
So it does cause some consternation. I won't deny, you know, the double pole lines. It's a question we get from V-Trans and all the communities work is how long, once we grant you this permission, we're gonna build something really brand new. How long before everybody joins? You know, there is, we can sort of quit claim the poles back to the telecommunications companies and say, okay, now they're your poles, you know, but that's not what we want. When we say retire, we want everybody to come out of these right of ways. We don't want anybody to have
Yeah.
to be back in there. So-
And you don't see any reason that the telecommunications folks wouldn't. They're not going to try to hang on to those old poles. They're going to move all their wires to your
That is the goal.
stuff.
But it's money from them that they have
It's
to. put
capital
up.
they need to
Yeah.
invest.
So
But in-
nothing's in writing yet, like,
Right.
right, you
But
don't,
in normal practice, that's what happens.
That is the practice, and we have a
Yeah.
joint notification system, NJUNS, it's NJUNS. So that's the standard in the industry. So once we're done, then we notify all those telecommunications companies, okay, you have 60 days, you have 90 days, or whatever the period of time is gonna be, and then that's what we continue to hit when folks call us and say, hey, these, you know, they haven't moved yet, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I worry about the possibility of there being a 50-foot pole with Green Mountain Power, and then that little pole that holds everything else, because they
Yes.
just have like dug their heels in and not wanting to move forward. That's a lot of poles. No matter what your right of way is, that's a lot of poles,
It
so.
is, and it looks busy, and I don't deny it, and
Oh,
a
it
lot
just
of
looks busy.
towns, communities
Yeah.
like this, you know, quaint village setting, you know, we
Yeah.
just,
Is there anything we can do to see about just ensuring that they follow the poll?
yeah, we can share who all those incumbents are, plus any of the new CUDs. And try to get some customers.
We're so far down the list on that whole deal. And I I think all the professional, the commercial suppliers, you know, this is a communication union
Yeah,
district,
CUDs, yeah, that's correct.
CUDs. I think by the time, and Rusty Davis is following this for us, by the time they get to Weston, it'll be 3 or 4 years, and everybody's gonna have internet from professional people who do that for a living. That's what I
Absolutely.
think.
I would like that more than anything. I want them to be on their new polls.
Yeah, oh,
No,
You know, I
that
mean,
is the
that's the
goal,
goal.
and you know, it's something that we're working on, our leadership working at the state
Yeah.
level as well, to try and encourage a little bit more unification, if you will. When we move they need to be reasonably expected to move in some period of time. There's nobody really,
Yeah.
you know, and,
Is there a possibility that some of these, so when you get the new, you've obviously got all the easements that you need from the landowners where you're not within your right of way, which is pretty easy on 100, but then on some of the other roads. So let's say you take down the poles on, that go through the woods on Dale Road. Do you give back the easement to the landowner?
it's just quick claim, they get their
Right
easement
back.
back. Yep.
So a lot of paperwork's gonna happen as this is going through.
Yep.
And you anticipate is 2 years reasonable start to finish to get through Weston, or is it?
To do the build,
Yeah,
a project like that, you know, it's probably at least 6 months, just based on
Okay.
the scale of some of the other aerial projects we've built so far this,
Mhm.
you know, through June, really. Actually, we're wrapping up a couple of projects that are similar in scope. We just did a similar project in Sharon, Royalton, basically from town to town. Similar village setting by the law school, very busy, you know, so again, got the same conversation with the town is how can we work together and make sure there's one pole line coming through town in a reasonable amount of time, so, yeah, obviously the town's discretion to, you know, lean on us or ask for our help in any way, condition that you can. But that's sort of the reality of how we work, we build, we notify.
will this be a hit to the budget of the taxpayers?
In town?
Yeah,
No, this is our
No.
capital, this is GMP's capital.
Yep.
And then, you know,
I
GMP
mean, moving
ratepayers.
everything out makes it easier for you to maintain the line, so I would think that there wouldn't be an increased cost, electricity, you know, that
Nope.
cost isn't passed on, no?
No, I mean,
Oh, like
now,
that.
everything's
Built in,
recovered, you know,
yeah.
everything's
Yeah, I know.
recovered in rates.
But
you know,
yeah,
in the
we're gonna
future,
get-
you know,
Yeah, it's gonna affect rates, it has to.
eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
So we're in a 4-year
Oh,
rate
okay.
plan right now,
Right.
in year 2, so we're working through, you know, our capital funds in that rate period, and then, you know, when rate making happens again, I'm not a rate engineer and I don't
Right,
work in
right,
that
right.
part of the business, but it's,
He's not listening.
it should be agnostic to the towns we're coming to in terms of your capital, your effort, you know, to support us. This is a, you know, this is a Green Mountain Power capital project, and all we need is the partnership of the town.
But we're, by allowing everything to get moved to easy access, should be easier, less pieces of equipment
Less
traveling.
trimming, less storm, less trouble.
Whatever you use
Yes.
to plow snow along one of those back road, you know, those private properties, so
Fewer
I
outages.
understand.
Fewer outages, yeah, so it just.
Is there any opportunities to bury the line in the town? Yeah, all the
Oh, yeah.
burying is
It's not shown
happening
in
along
here.
100.
And those, the line, the segments we are burying here on private property, and those are things that people are gonna contribute to, or, you know, it's a private easement, folks don't wanna, you know, want open sight lines, so they'll say, okay, you're gonna come across my property, I want it buried. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay,
there's
so
some
all that
caution
around.
But then
Would
they
there
pay-
be an opportunity for the town at some point to partner with you in getting the lines buried in town?
Well, this would be the time though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
It's
that's-
something that we can, you know, discuss right now. Like, obviously, we haven't moved to build, and probably this is a 25 start. And that's just given where we are in the
Yeah.
construction season this year. I don't know if you have other capital projects, or if there's any other infrastructure projects coming through town. Certainly, the expense becomes burying everyone's service. And so if you imagine Main Street with no main line, you know, if it was buried,
Then
you
you
still
got,
have to rise up and, you know, get people services, because that gets very costly, 10 to 20 grand, you know, per connection to basically bury everyone's
Plus you're
power.
cutting across people's drain fields and septics and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it takes a little bit more of an urban planning in that respect, but certainly we are growing our expertise to underground, and that's primarily what we're doing in some of these back roads areas. So we have not yet brought, you know, that technology to Main Street, you know, no pun intended, but it's
So all this
Well,
along Route 100 that's being buried, people are paying for that?
yes.
You know, it's just right along Route 100.
I'd rather do that than look
Then
at
have
the
a
line.
full
The lines.
set in.
Well, here's a sort of a theoretical question. If we started at Lawrence Hill Road, I'm looking at, page 31.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started at Lawrence Hill Road on Route 100. And then we've got, and then you've got the Farrar Park there. And you've got 1, 2, 3 poles. But would it be possible, and there's a house, Shirley Knowlton's, that's fed by the one right by the post office. But then if we buried the one that gets run into every winter by a box truck, and the one right at the entrance to Park Street,
Mhm.
you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then, and had it come up again on the new number 2. On the
It's
one.
new number 2 service there. is
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
nomenclature is, but it's
that's the Drury House.
it's number 104.
Yeah,
Behind the house, the detail for the pole is a little offset from the actual
Yeah.
location, but I see what you're saying, so basically.
it would
underground from the
involve
post office-
burying two poles that don't serve any houses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that would really clean up our downtown
Yeah, that would be nice.
a lot.
Farrar Park has, I mean, they have no money.
Well, I'm just thinking, if you leave this pole up, but bury it here and get rid of this pole, get rid of this pole. And so this is now, this is all underground here, and then it pops up on this pole. We don't have, nothing comes off either of these two poles.
These two for sure.
So we could clean up, and then we wouldn't have to go to any private landowners.
Up here.
And at some point, I think the town,
We have trucks.
we should consider,
Literally,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
or coming closer.
So
You'll
what
see
would it
out there
cost
that
to
the
bury
fence is
those
all
lines?
down through here. From the last truck.
and obviously,
Yeah, it would.
it would come out of the town budget. Yeah, we'd have to. But I'm interested in what that number,
I will, I'll take it back to our design team and, see what it would take, to essentially do an underground dip across the face of the park there.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, and it's just, getting rid of 2 poles, right by the post office. I don't know what pole that is,
It's the one right in the middle of
Yeah,
the
it's
triangle.
right in the middle of the triangle. But, and then
The one that caught on fire, that one?
I think, yes, exactly that one. And then eliminate the
Yeah, the
next
other-
2 poles. But run it underground, and then the pole, it comes up just behind Drury House.
I think the cost would be interesting to know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, is this something feasible?
Yeah,
And 2, don't forget Farrar Park with all those mature maples, if we tagged into something that ruined one of their trees, so we need to think that.
Have to
Yeah.
have some decent offset there to cut in, so.
I think it'll be on the high side.
I'll snap some photos
Yeah.
before I head
Yeah,
out
would you-
tonight and we can certainly have a discussion back.
Yeah,
with our
sounds
engineering
good.
team
Yeah.
as, part of that, and I think, again, part of the overall picture will now be continuous 3-phase from Londonderry to the hub overhead. Where we'll deviate a little bit is Foster Road. We dive in there and where the line comes down from Piper Hill, and then there's cross-country right away. What we propose to do is bring that to the roadside completely on Foster, and then come down the bottom of Piper Hill out through 100, and then there'd be 3 spans approximately on Route 100 to get to the gallery where the back feed basically
Right.
ends on Main Street. So those are the
Yeah.
sort of the roads in play, where we would need, out on Fields Road and then on Dale Road. Obviously, we need the town's permission to dig underground through the dirt. So each one of
Yeah,
those
you gotta
roads
go
are
under the river.
right
there.
off the pavement. So
Oh, no,
Dale
no,
Road's
but you're
got
not
the
going,
pavement, so we go underneath, because we're going actually underground as we go across Dale Road, parallel across those properties. That's one of the sections we're going underground. And then
At Fields Road, how are you,
the intersection, that's the
how
last.
are you
map
getting
tile, I
across,
believe.
the river on Fields Road?
It's an existing line comes
Oh,
from
okay.
100. So if you look, map tile 33, so the existing line comes in. and-
Wait, 33? No.
Yeah,
Yep,
he-
33.
it's just a,
Oh, yes,
That's
yes,
what I was
right, it's the
wondering.
last one, yes. I noticed that.
And so that's an existing line. So that will stay, and then as you see Old Tavern Road and Boynton, we're marking here that we're actually removing, we're retiring 2 phases, and so basically all the lines up there will just be single phase, and then it'll be 3 phase on Route 100 going south to north there.
Yeah.
And so there's a little spot right there on Boynton Road where it goes from pavement to dirt, where we would need to go across the road and get in there, the old schoolhouse lane to serve a couple of customers
Yeah,
in there. And then there's also a section that we're depicting going up from Boynton Road, up Old Tavern Road, a ways underground, in the road shoulder, one road crossing and up. So those are a few of the areas, Dale Road and this area right here where we'd have to get on the ground also with the road foreman and the commission, just to make sure, you know what the standard is they want to see. And obviously we have a standard for undergrounding that we could share in terms of depth and construction means and methods. We also have a new underground cable, it's cable and conduit, which is a completely sealed, no more building stick conduit in a trench and then pulling conductor through. So if you're at all interested in the technology, we have this industrial trenching machine going on, working in Wardsboro right now. It's a 435 horse tractor that runs a 10-foot diameter diamond tip cutting wheel.
Oh, wow.
And we put trailers in front of it with all of the spools of conductor,
man,
interduct, and it feeds over the top, and it's just a direct bury, and the machine just moves, and then it screens material, does the initial backfill, and then we have another excavator contractor company that comes through with and does the 2 or 3 lifts that it takes to rebuild all the geotech, and then we finish it with SurePack. So that's how we've been operating town roads down there. So if you're ever interested,
might be worth a drive, a
Yeah.
field trip, if you will.
but in these small sections, it'd probably be a little bit more conventional open trench with an
Yeah.
excavator, but just using the same conductor though, not going back to gluing conduit together, but using this new cable that we have. That's
yeah, sticking that little felt ball, wiping it around. Okay, plug it in quick.
So what you're seeking from us is just a blessing of sorts?
Yeah, and I
There's a
did
signature
include
on
an actual formal agreement letter, again, just memorializes where we would be working and the roads that we need the town's permission to work in. Like I said, we've been usually going 2 rounds, so this is just the introduction, share the project, get this feedback. This is great in terms of looking at what we can do here in the village and anything else that the town has reservations about. Certainly we've heard from plenty of our customers as we canvass everyone to do this and work on easements. So
Does this change solar net metering at all for anybody?
no. So it won't be, no one will notice, the difference per se, other than when it comes to storms and outages and response time and our ability to get the things expeditiously. So Boynton Road would be a long feed, single phase. So really you get to the bigger outages first, and now our 3-phase line is sitting right on the roadside. We can drive right up to it, work on it, and then we work up the lines as folks get further from.
Cool. Thanks.
When do you need this by? Because our chair is not with us this evening.
No, that's okay. I think we're gonna take this back and we're gonna look at what we can possibly do out here for an
Okay.
underground dip on the park. Reach out to Alman, our road commissioner, and try and get out in the field sometime in the next couple of weeks. So what I'll do is work with Shauna to get back on the calendar at the end of the
Great.
month.
Great, so we can say
Perfect.
this.
Yeah, you can table that.
Yeah.
This is an
Brilliant.
example of the agreement that we
Yeah,
use for our town permissions, and whatever else comes up.
Great.
If you think of
Timothy,
anything
thank you
else.
so much. Any
Yeah.
other
Thank you.
questions?
That's, you've answered everything we've all been like thinking and wondering what was going on, how bad is this gonna be, and, I have to say, this is pretty impressive,
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
thank you
great.
very much.
Thank you. Have a safe and happy Fourth.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you too.
Just trying to get through today.
One day it's fourth with the same number of figures I started off.
Fireworks makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done with
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, fill
That's
station.
not, it's not even an item, this is, MES had given a quote. I can't even tell you when it was, and we already approved it. This is a new quote, and it is for an additional amount of money, which we are not authorizing the town to spend. So we're gonna go with the original quote, as we already voted to approve. It is about $750 difference, and that's $750 if the fire department doesn't want to hold MES to their original quote, they will pay the $750.
Okay,
So that's.
I got it.
What is this for?
So I'm gonna call this an air exchanger, but basically this fills their airlines when they're going into a fire and they have their apparatus
Oh, I
on.
see, okay.
It
Think
was-
that high pressure pump on that scuba tour you took
Yeah.
last time you were in Greece or the Virgin Islands, but it's basically a super compressor that fills them to like, I don't know, 1,000 PSI
Yeah.
or something like that. I mean,
And it's invaluable to them. They thought they could try to, the history is, they thought they could try to replace only parts of it.
Right.
It's,
Right.
you should
right.
not be messing with
Right.
one's air intake,
no,
one's oxygen intake. So
Okay.
we voted to approve it, and I will tell you that I think the difference is the $750 and the shipping, they upped their shipping rate. But since they're going to be bringing it and installing it, I think that the number was just inflated. So we authorized the previous number, it's already a done deal. Once they order it, oh, we did not discuss though, this is on our dime, this particular thing. So remember, we have the structure, I keep calling it an air exchanger, I'm gonna call it a fill station. Fill station and the generator are items that the town has purchased, we own these items. The contents of the fire department, for instance, their clothing, their washer, their dryer, all those other things. Those are all kind of contents, and those have all been purchased
by
through the
them.
fire department
Right.
by them, so we let them handle that stuff. So it's generator, this
Fill station
fill
Compressor,
station,
and the building itself.
and the structure itself, including wiring and plumbing, so, so just to explain how the fire department is operating with that, so that's what we're gonna do, and I just told Josh I would just run it by with you guys. We're gonna give them the okay to go ahead and buy it, we're gonna cut them a check for the original amount approved. And we're gonna make the check out to this MES corporation, because then it is back on my insurance, the VLCT insurance claim that we replaced it, we replaced with like kind, so on and so forth. And, yeah, so that was all,
Great,
that was all.
super. Okay. Hazard mitigation. Wow, I started reading that and I got acronymed to death.
Yeah.
So
So that is the pre-survey, the deadline was, for the 90 million for the state
well, the pre-application period,
is due August
August
16th.
16th, so we have thankfully some time on that. But, and this is filling out this app, one of the questions I had, just jumping to the application. Is, do we need a different grant mean, there are just a ton of things that need the hazard mitigation projects. The two big ones for the town are the Lawrence Hill Bridge, Lawrence Hill Road Bridge, and for the town, the dam. But the dam is owned by the conservation, by the community association. And so they ought to be filling out that pre-application form, it seems to me. Even though we don't know, we don't have the results of the hydraulic study, either for the bridge or the dam, but we ought to fill those out. And then there are a bunch of other possible projects that we could fill out grants for, like for the little school basement waterproofing that, for here. And then they're upsizing undersized infrastructure, that could be cider mill.
There's a lot
A
that could be.
lot there, and the question is, my question, and I'm looking at you,
Right.
I don't know the
saw
answer, and
it.
I don't think you know
Yeah,
the
no, I
answer
don't have a
either.
clue,
And
but
I'm not accusing you of.
I can figure it out, but
But, you know, that's just a question I had, and we need to get the answer.
that's why I
Because
printed it
filling
out
out
and
these
put it
things-
back
Yeah.
on the agenda, because I just don't know, like, I can go ahead and check all the check marks and put her name in, but I don't
No,
know.
She would be, if she's accepting it, she would be working on the municipal projects
Right,
only. The
right,
nonprofits, I
yeah.
think it's more than fair for us to reach out to them and say, listen, I think you could benefit from some of this, get your people on
I
it.
think they
And
probably,
then,
yeah,
and then let them handle the rest. We
Yeah.
can't micromanage them, but we can,
I
we can
totally
certainly
agree
do
with that.
that.
It never occurred to me that we would be filling out any.
Yeah.
I don't think we can fill it out for them.
No, we can't, but I'm saying we should stay focused on
Yeah.
the town needs, and if you're accepting us, and God love you.
What project
Well,
are we-
Well, that's the key thing. The big one is gonna be the Lawrence Hill, the bridge here.
But this is not nearly enough money
Oh, no, this
to
is,
do anything on that.
And Alyssa Savetto does not think that we're going to receive very much money from this. Because of our,
We've already gotten some.
because we're already paired up with the larger heavy hit communities for the two rivers, the rivers project, things like that.
yeah, the
that
Rivers
they're going
project,
to
I think
see.
ultimately, the Rivers, if I understand it correctly, and this is another question I had, the Rivers project is, the end point for them is to tap into at least this 90 million.
Correct.
This
So
isn't the
I,
90 million one, this is 65 million, this was
Well,
additional, right?
I think this is 65 million.
that total.
That is the 75% federal contribution, but then the
Okay.
state is putting in the other 25%, so that gets us to the 90 million. That of
Yeah. I think this
federal
was
funds,
the
but
90.
you know, my only point is that there are gonna be a zillion moving parts here, and we need to get organized, and
Yeah.
I think I looked through this thing, I had a whole ton of questions. And
It's a lot, and
yeah.
Alyssa said that she's more than willing to work with us, I
Good.
invited her and called her and said. Well, I sent her an email saying like, this is on our agenda for, 2 weeks ago, and she called immediately, like I hit send, she called and she was like, I just don't know
We
if
have to
you
come up-
should,
We have to come up with the projects, we have to scope the projects, we have to have the projects.
yeah,
all
it's a
defined.
lot,
There's a lot to this, and then you sort of. then
find out where
throw
you
your
can get,
Name in the hat,
Yeah.
in the,
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of how that goes, and that's a lot of work, like, it would not just be a you. It is
Right, I
with
don't-
all
I
of the
can't-
Technical people, it would be with
But
Almond.
this is
Jeff,
just preliminary though.
That's right, this just gets us in
But to
line.
put
It's a
our name in, I
placeholder.
have to fill out all of that
Yeah,
information.
yeah.
But we don't need to like engineer anything now, we just need to get our
Right.
name in for a project now.
Right, and because they're talking about
'Cause they were
You know,
talking about
the-
this at the
the-
session I went to.
the pre-application form, they're talking about cost benefit ratios, and I mean, how the hell do you do that on a on a pre-application form?
Well, I think we should find a couple of projects that are not multi-million-dollar projects, maybe something in the lower range, so that if we don't get approved for a biggie, we might get approved for a small one. So if you can make it through the pre-application process without it asking you to define projects,
I don't know that you can.
No, you
Yeah.
have to pick
they want you
something.
to define it
Yeah.
at the, on the.
I
I
think
printed
Alyssa-
out the survey
Yeah,
is on, like, into that packet is the
Yeah.
physical survey,
You know,
and
like
it's, you
problem
can't,
description there.
Yeah, and they give example of,
yeah.
you know, wording that you can use.
I can't even, like, I
but
couldn't get
don't know,
past,
you know.
like, I
Or-
tried to
or
hit other
encourage
on all of
town
them, and it was like,
No.
field required, field required.
Yeah, and the I think we're gonna get a lot of help from Alyssa
Yeah,
and for Maggie Foley on this, with our.
which would be great. I,
She's a
am
pro
definitely in the
at
dark
this.
about this. I'm the
Yeah.
first one to admit I have no idea. I'd
Yeah,
love to
what-
learn and know more about it, but I can't,
Yeah,
I mean, I obviously can't even fill out the application. So,
I don't
well,
think any of us could fill out
I'm
a
gonna start with
pre-application.
Alyssa and Maggie.
Okay.
And you and I will sit and I'll
I mean,
have
if we-
some of these questions more of these questions answered, and probably will have generated more questions, but by August, we'll be able
to
to,
know,
I think,
yeah.
yeah.
And the only question I wanna make sure is, if we apply for this for Lawrence Hill Road Bridge or for WCA's dam, and we've applied in another avenue,
Right, I don't know.
is there like
We've
double
gotta-
dipping, like, should we
Yeah.
focus on one or the other? I guess that was my question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Alyssa is gonna know the answer, because she's, we don't wanna be competing
Right.
with the Rivers project
I
that,
think that's what she was
Yeah.
trying to get across, is
Yeah.
that it is,
yeah.
could be double dipping.
But
We're-
how could we differentiate the needs? If the second one, river project stuff hasn't been defined. Has it?
Well, another excellent question,
Yeah.
since we don't know the answer, I mean,
Well, one of the things on here is burying utilities or fortifying lines and poles.
Green Mountain Powers, yeah,
They're gonna come, no, really.
Oh,
yeah.
They're gonna come to us and say, if you wanna bury your lines, it's gonna cost $50,000 or
And we could say,
$100,000.
that could be a project.
And we could use this money to do that. In other business, I did talk to the HUD guy for quite a while. This is all coming out of that meeting at Stratton.
Mhm.
So I can bring up to speed on that, but it's all related to this kind of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, it just takes a lot of, there's a lot to this.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I know.
And it's overwhelming at first. I think once you get into it, you sort of can figure out your way through, but the dive,
I'm-
the jumping in the pool
yeah.
is the,
I think now we just need to pick out a project, because you could do this, once you have a project, this isn't overwhelming.
Well,
It's-
but we have to figure out
but
what
we
kind
need
of
to figure out
projects,
the project.
yeah,
That's-
and
And do you do a separate one for each project, or
exactly,
that's the question is it
Yeah.
a separate,
I don't know,
multiple projects? Yeah.
I would assume,
Because I would
but
assume we would have multiple
Multiple
projects.
projects.
You got the bridge,
guaranteed,
we got the, you
Yeah.
got about the power line buried, you got
The
road
dam,
things and
you got
the
the
dam.
basement over at the little school, I mean, you got a
You
million
got the
things.
Stop sign on.
Yeah, up
Lang
on
Road.
Lawrence Hill Road,
Yeah.
Lang Grove, yeah,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
just,
And the flashing speed signs that we want to put on each side of the town.
We're so focused on the village, let's pick something outside the village too, that would be great.
And something
Alright.
outside the
And
village.
something outside
I
the
wanna
village,
be on the
please.
record as saying outside the village.
Thank you. I think this might also be one of those where, remember we talked about cleaning out some of the gravel and the debris that's in the brooks that is causing the brooks to jump. That might be another, we could pick a section like Greendale, or we could pick a section like Jenny Coolidge and just say, here's a project.
Johnson Hill Road.
Nothing wrong with Johnson Hill. I'm finding that
There
to be
isn't, I
just-
find that hard to believe. I haven't been up that in a long time,
You should plow it
on
with me.
purpose. Oh,
Come
I'm
on
sure.
down, come on down. It's coming down backwards, it's all good. But yeah, so I'm just thinking like maybe something else that's, if we fix the brooks and the streams, maybe the water problem will be a little better by the time it hits the village. That would be my 2 cents. But I'm good with whatever y'all pick.
Well, yeah, I'm,
So you're gonna follow up on that?
I'm gonna follow up with it.
We like free
Okay.
money.
Okay, anything else on this, H,
No. I'm good.
No,
yeah,
I'm get,
yeah. Okay, declaration of inclusion, God,
So yeah, the Declaration of Inclusion survey is something that I got in the mail on Monday. Well,
yeah,
last Monday, I think. It does look like we have joined. It does not look
Yeah.
like we have done I can't find anything other than the signed copy that I copied at the end. But it doesn't look
Have
like,
we,
do we have a committee? I don't know. Do we
no,
have?
no, we don't have a committee.
There's nothing on
And
the
here's-
website about
here's-
it. There's no,
No.
Just, shut off the recording for a little while. We're not gonna have a committee.
Okay.
Then you can turn the, no. But have we it seems to me at some point, and we don't have to do that right now, because as I read this, there's plenty of time to
yeah,
come back. But probably posting the declaration on the website, we
which I can do,
that.
no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and on the bulletin
Hang
board or
it on
something like
the
that.
bulletin board, absolutely. Explain to the community the reasons why our town adopted a declaration. No, we haven't.
It's the right thing to do.
We could.
I can try to pull the meeting minutes from when we signed it.
No,
And
no, no,
I
I
don't
think we
know.
just make an announcement at town
Town
meeting.
meeting, yeah,
So put it on that, remember I told you about that?
Yeah,
yeah,
Board?
exactly.
I do have a list
You
of
do have a
random.
list, okay,
The inclusion committee, we're not gonna do it.
yeah.
And our inclusion committee,
We're excluding them.
engaged to work with our school board. We don't have a school board. Community faith leaders, I'm going to call John Bliss. And the fire department,
So just working on it, right?
yeah. I'm trying to think. Who aren't we including on the fire department?
On the fire department?
Yeah,
Oh.
fire department
Yeah,
to
these are just
encourage
different
inclusive
municipal
practices.
entities, I think they're just,
Yeah.
they're just.
And
reaching out to
we
us.
have no police department. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
a lot of
think-
this
I
is,
think what applies and what doesn't.
Okay.
just
yeah,
doesn't.
exactly.
So, I think the most fair thing we could do is announce that we signed on as one of the first towns to adopt the
Mhm.
Declaration of Inclusion. And
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And we
and there's
believe
yeah.
in, we,
And
So you
we're
guys
about as
don't-
inclusive as you can get, I think.
I would-
in Vermont, it's a little tough,
So
We
I
got-
don't mind filling it out if you guys just say that it's fine that I sign it. I don't even know if it needs a signature, but
Yeah, well, just as soon as we've done those things, I will call,
Okay.
let's hold off. I'll call John Bliss to say that I've done it.
If we just, the declaration, if we just put a copy of this to Josh Allison at the fire department, to
Mhm.
John Bliss,
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
who are we missing here? We don't have PD, so that's fine. School board, we do have I mean, we technically have a school board.
We have, who's our school
The
board?
RSU's, isn't that our school board?
Do we have a
Do we have a
representative?
representative?
I'm sure we do.
Oh, we were going to, but then no one wanted to run, and so now I just don't know.
Yeah, we don't have it. I was hoping that.
We could post it
maybe we
there.
could get
Okay.
Right
Chris
next to
Lango would be, seems to me perfect, but,
Okay, so let's just think
Yeah.
select board doesn't, your school board doesn't mean anything. We'll send an inclusion over to the little school. That would be.
yeah, there we go.
As encompassing, as inclusive, I guess I should say. Appropriate changes, evidence. And we'll post one on the wall.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah,
And out on the board. And
yeah,
I
and
think
we'll feel
I
like heroes. And we
I don't
will.
know about a
Like it
hero,
may
but
have
I-
already been done and posted, you know, when you signed it. I don't have any record of it
I think
anywhere.
if you do all those things, then you can check them off as completed and
Right,
and her checklist is done
Yep.
and we're following the good faith that we.
so if you send a copy of the thing to the little school, I will call John Bliss.
Okay.
And then we'll
I'll send it to the fire department and
send
then,
it to the
Just
fire
send it
department.
to Joss and say, share it at your next meeting,
Mhm.
and that should.
And
get
this
us-
is the declaration, right? Is that?
correct.
Yeah,
Got it.
There should be a nice fancier poster up there somewhere that would look nice on a board.
this is gonna be fine. Yeah, okay, anything else on this,
No.
Okay. Town garage building permit, I don't know where we stand with that. I see the permit.
Denny asked me to fill it out and submit it because he wants to be ready to go once we find a
Yep,
builder.
yep.
So that is what I did. Will has, helped me fill it out because one, we don't have a builder, so I don't know any of these details.
Yeah,
Two, I've never filled out a building permit before, so I don't know about setbacks, things like that. I did the
is
best I
it filled
can.
out
It is not.
with Will's
not.
help?
It is not complete.
It's
We're
not complete, no,
sending it-
right.
We're not sending it to Will until it's complete. This looks crazy. If I, as Joe Schmo, fill this out and send this to Will, he's gonna kick it back. And there's an email from Will saying, do you want me to go to the town engineer to ask?
Well, there's a
about state
list on
questions?
stuff, yeah.
I don't know why we get involved with state issues if there are no state issues.
Well, I think the state
all this
has
stuff on?
issues with almost everything that Will's involved with now.
Stormwater
'Cause that,
treatment, they want some erosion control.
Well,
And
On the back of the first page is like all of his.
$32.67, we have
but it's
64.40.
64.40, yeah.
It's a mess.
does
It's a
this
mess.
does this go to the DRB after?
It
what
should
happens
just go
to-
to Will and it should
Yeah, it's
be complete with a map with all of the setbacks, which it's not. Here's the map, there's not a single number on here.
Well, let's
So
kick it
who-
well,
back
because I've
to
never
Will.
done it before and I
It's
don't,
fine, it's
no
not
one
you,
has.
it's not you. Will should have kicked it back to us to say, we have to do all these things, this is the checklist.
Can we ask Will, would it be fair to ask Will to put the setbacks on it?
No, Will is the deciding factor. He
Okay.
cannot fill out the application
Okay.
and then approve it.
So where
All
are
we
we gonna
need to
get
do
the
is-
setbacks?
We're gonna go back to square one, we're gonna read the application tells you how to measure the setbacks, and we're gonna go and we're gonna measure
And is
them.
that on the town website,
Yes,
It's on the application.
which is on the website.
which is on the website?
Mhm.
Because we may have to do the same thing just as a preview, for the generator installation.
Mhm.
Ah, good point.
And so I already asked Will if it was necessary to do a permit. And of his own, I did not ask. Of his own volition, he then sent an email, because he said he would advise me. That he thought that he didn't need anything for town purposes, but the state, because it's in the flood, whatever,
Mhm.
okay,
But, yeah.
the building is,
Yeah,
that the state would have an opinion on that. So he already sent an email
Okay.
asking them questions. But I'll fill out the
permit for
the
that.
permit for that, when he gets back to me and says
Okay.
what's needed, if anything.
And you're on board with the location that was picked,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the tank set next to it.
No, the tank is about 20 feet away
And maybe downhill from,
and downhill. And
but
it'll
the
be-
guy's coming out the 10th of July, not to, we should save this for old new
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
Let's get through the agenda first.
Yeah.
Right,
This-
so-
this-
so who-
This can't go through the way it
Who
is.
follows up on this?
Somebody should. Somebody should.
Yeah,
We don't even have a building spec yet. We're guessing what the building is.
Right.
I think Denny jumped the gun just a little bit in having a building application. It takes 45 days. We are not going to have it
Right.
built or started in 45 days. We're not even gonna have concrete in 45 days. So I say this goes back to the drawing board. We'll redo it. We'll add all of the things that were missing on it.
and who's gonna do
And-
that? Is Shauna, I don't know anything about these, so I'm in the dark.
Or just Almond and the
They
guys
they
come
don't
up with
have
something.
anything. They have nothing. We have nothing. We
Well,
have
then
nothing.
why are we, oh, well, I know why we're messing. with it.
We're
Yeah.
trying to get ahead of something that we don't know what we're building.
Yeah,
That's what's happening. I'm frustrated with this because this is getting the cart before the horse.
mhm,
I want the builder who was supposed to come up with the plans, come up with the permits, come up with everything, sketches, the whole 9 yards, and then that person fills out this application.
Oh,
okay.
well, I would agree with that too, yeah.
okay. So let's table this.
Yeah.
Let's get a
Yeah, 'cause-
builder, yeah, okay.
And we don't have a building,
Not yet.
We know,
okay.
And it wasn't you, Shauna, in any way, please don't
No.
take that.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was literally like, we're gonna do a building. Why don't we just do any old application?
okay. But this in no way represents our hesitancy or resistance to doing the 2 extra bays to the
No,
town garage. And I think that's what Denny is. He just wants to make sure that this doesn't keep getting, the actual project doesn't keep getting
I
pushed
agree.
down the road. And that's, I think it's important that our minutes show that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not saying, oh no, let's
Totally.
not do
well,
this.
the problem is that we don't have a contractor to do it.
Yeah.
We need to pick a contractor to do it. I don't think we want just any contractor to do it. I think we've seen that we've gotten, talk from people people who have done many commercial projects to some people who have never done a commercial project who want to throw their hat in the ring for, just to see.
Do we have any? viable
No
candidates?
official bids because we didn't have a decent scope. We had the best scope we could come up with. It includes a lot of moving parts, including concrete, including site work, including electric, no, not plumbing, just electric. We didn't talk about what the heat source was going to be and roofing and insulation. So it was a blow.
At this point, we should just
Start over,
bid on a Quonset
Right,
type.
right.
start over from scratch, and we seek out qualified bidders that have experience doing this. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, okay. Anything else on that?
No.
Okay, town garage septic bids.
We got a bid, it didn't come in under the things, again, same thing. We can look at a bid that came in late and it is the only bid that we have received to date. I wanna know that it's the right person doing the right job. I just don't wanna hire somebody because
They put in a bid,
yeah,
but
What about,
what if that's the only bid
So-
we ever get?
Have we looked at that yet?
well, we don't have a building to really worry
Can't-
about,
Can't
so,
do the septic.
yeah, you're welcome to do whatever you like. They're on the rec property, that's where the septic is going, and I'm on the board of the rec, so it is important that we pick somebody that
yeah,
qualified and that knows what we know, what you and the board sat down and discussed, so. This whole, the septic, the fix, and the building are all,
oh God, trying to think, Chris, what, the guy who designed the system.
Miles.
Miles,
Wait.
Wait, thank you, I'm thinking of trying to dig Bobby Waite's, anyway. Miles Waite, he just designed the program, the thing. Would he have any suggestions on people who can do this?
I think we need to put it back out to bid. I think leaving things out for 1 week on the Vermont Journal is just not fair. And the other thing is we should be targeting all of the local contractors. Shaves, Hunter, Dwayne even. I mean, there's people here in Weston that could do the job. So let's, on this one, I suggest that we put it back out to bid. And we'll put it in the Vermont Journal for 2 weeks minimum. And we will reach out to any and all Weston contractors and surrounding, which will pick up some qualified people like David Shaves and Hunter to put a bid on this. We originally thought that this needed to be done like yesterday, but they have a bathroom. They're okay. We want to make it better, and we have until 2026 to spend the money, to do the project and spend the money. So we can settle down, we can just sort of make sure we get a qualified.
Do we need a motion?
Oh, I will happily make that motion. I am going to make a motion that we put the septic bid back out to the Vermont Journal for a minimum of 2 weeks. Deadline can be a month after that second week if you want.
So,
We can.
Just a separate.
it'll be end of July. How about end of
It's
July?
leach fields. Yeah, bring in leach field and we're gonna connect to the existing tank
Oh,
and fix.
Or should we make it,
separate, right.
Okay.
so I'm thinking of trying to get a date, July
So
23rd,
we're on a Tuesday.
select board meeting here, or should we give end of the month and then we'll
Yep,
catch it?
yep, August.
I would do the 13th because I don't know when the
Okay.
journal goes to print. I mean, I can have it to them
Let's have the
tomorrow, but I
deadline
don't know.
be August 13th then, right?
Make it the 12th, the day before, so that she has a chance to get
Okay.
everything put together.
Yeah.
Oh, can
Should
you-
we make
can
it the
you come in
9th?
on that Monday just to kind of gather up that stuff?
Should we make it the 9th?
It's up to you. Would you rather do the 9th? Is that better?
Sure, it doesn't matter to me.
Okay,
Because,
let's do
It's-
Friday the 9th. That's
okay.
perfect. August 9th. Get the bids in. And reach out to some of these, I can help you, give you a list.
Yeah.
I
And
just,
I second whatever she
oh
just
God,
said.
sorry, made a motion that we're gonna put it in the Vermont Journal for a minimum of a 2 week period, plus we're gonna reach out to local excavation contractors capable and willing to do septic leach field installs. And the deadline will be
August
August
9th.
9th.
All right, I second the motion. And then the discussion is, didn't we reach out to locals in our previous?
Yes.
Okay,
So what happens
it was
is,
available to them, but
so what happened is that everybody is still cleaning up from flood and doing all the private projects. So what I kept hearing was, we'd love to help you, but,
Yeah,
and that's not, it's not our fault. We just, if you wanna be in with everybody else, you're gonna get no one to respond. We needed to open it up and say to them, listen, we're gonna give you a little more time, settle out all the business that you had promised. And that's what I was hearing, is that we made it a really tight turnaround and people
People were
did
just too
not
busy. Yeah.
right.
okay, any other discussion?
No.
All in favor?
I,
Okay. Let's see, where are we?
Um,
Open
yeah.
meeting law changes, all mine.
And there's a, oh my goodness.
Well, I just looked at it, it didn't look, I was prepared for a real horror show, and
It's not
No.
too
it
bad.
didn't look too bad to me, actually.
We are in compliant as the select board with, there's a link on our website to GNAT, which has all of our recordings. The problem is no one super knows yet if DRB needs to be recorded and posted, or if planning commission needs to be reported, posted. VLCT is looking into that, like the specifics
Okay.
of that. So we're not in compliance for that. We do have.
Or we might not be in compliance.
We might not be.
Yeah.
We do have all the links that they want us to have. I just don't know how specific. Like if you go to our website, it says like frequently asked questions about open meeting law, which covers like how you, what is the one? I think it's on the second page. I'm sorry, I didn't print it out for myself. Yeah, this. So it definitely provides you links to this, and then we have links to all of this, but it's not on our website. It's not set up to just like click on this and go. Like you kind of have to read more and click. So I just don't know how specific it needs to get. And I don't know if anybody knows kind of right now.
Well,
It's
Act
there, it's
133 takes effect July 1st, 2024. Requires all other public bodies to record in audio or video their meetings and post the recordings in electronic location. That's the tough part.
So we are okay. The select board meetings
Right.
do have that link, but GNAT doesn't record any of the other meetings. And I don't know if our website provider can handle
It's like public and.
putting that link on there. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know the parameters.
Can we ask of our committees, DRB,
Planning.
DRB and planning commission,
Planning.
that's it.
I think the
Really?
board or the
all of them,
abatement
they
or
need to all be made aware. Can we go back to the recording method? I know we have recorders, I just don't know what.
I don't know how I would get it onto the computer, like if I used a recorder, you know, I think I can
Yeah, I
pull
think-
like an audio of a Zoom, but I don't know.
What is there any opposition to DRB zooming a meeting? Because,
No, they do. I
okay,
just don't know if they record them, and I don't know because our subscription with Zoom only holds these videos for so long. That's why select board stuff goes to GNAT where it's held, you know, indefinitely.
Yeah.
I don't know what our Zoom capabilities are.
can we add, is Kim on? Does she know?
Kim, do you know?
You gotta unmute, Kim.
So I,
Hang
Oh,
on,
we
Kim.
can't hear you.
you can't hear me? Hmm,
No, it should be.
well, I'm unmuted.
Sorry, Kim, we can't hear you.
Bummer.
You muted?
No.
Hmm. Sorry.
Oops.
Hang on a second.
Because everything's on. I just can't hear her.
My,
See, the first
I can't hear.
paragraph here, as I read it, permits advisory bodies, which I think is the would be the planning commission, which does not have supervision, control, or jurisdiction over legislative, quasi-judicial, tax, or budgetary matters. They have none of those.
That's fine.
To meet electronically without a physical meeting location, so they can do Zoom. All other public bodies, non-advisory bodies, to record audio and video their meetings and post the recordings. My only question is the DRB, are they, do they have supervision or control or jurisdiction over legislative, quasi-judicial, I guess quasi-judicial,
Two things, one, meet electronically, we all know that Zoom works.
yeah. But
So-
The second part is.
just recording.
We have Kim.
on the phone, right?
Yeah,
So I think there's a way to put the links out there, and they also had less of a requirement to be out there. I thought there was so they didn't have to be there for a year, like some of the select board meetings. But they might have to be out there for 30 days. And I think that they can have a recording out there from Zoom. I understand that DRB does record, but they're not going to record like deliberation sessions. And I can check with Will Goodwin because he handles that.
I guess I would understand that, and that would make sense for me.
deliberative sessions are not
Just
public.
like executive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the explanation of the procedures for submitting a notice of an open meeting law violation, I would call VLCT and just find out what that is.
They're working on it.
Yeah, okay. And one VSA section 314,
Yeah.
just,
It's posted. I mean, you can get there. I just
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
if it has.
and the only other thing is training requirements for Denny.
That's what it says.
I know, he knows.
And
He's
the
aware.
training requirements take effect on January 1st, 2025, so he's got plenty of time to, do his
Get back
homework.
to school.
Yeah.
I think, could we have Shauna reach out to Deb and just let Deb's interpretation of this and see what she says?
Yeah.
I think she falls under all other public bodies to record an audio. Like you said, where do we put it? I don't know the answer to that, but let's just even see, I believe.
But I think she's quasi judicial.
I think
Yeah.
we have to record it. Where do we go with it? That's what I don't understand. Where do we go with it? To the
Yeah, I was listening
A
to a
designated electronic location for a minimum of 30 days.
UCLT webinar yesterday, and this came up, and they're all like,
We don't know.
this hasn't been tested, we don't really know, but we're gonna be posting. They have pages on their websites with best practices and all this stuff. But
They're
gonna
very,
be-
very helpful, and they make it easy.
Right, they're gonna be updating those in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
By July 1st, probably not, but every town in Vermont
Yeah,
is gonna be in the same boat,
exactly.
so we don't really need to worry about July 1st.
I agree.
Okay.
I
I just don't want to go to
So
jail.
let's just.
No.
We will visit.
Okay.
No one's coming with money to bail, but we will visit. I disagree that, it needs to be dealt with. We can
Oh, yeah,
kick
but-
it down the road, but we
Yeah,
should just.
There are
figure
no
out the
answers
system.
right now,
But
so.
yeah, it's just
Yeah,
a question
right.
of which committees
need to, yeah,
fall under this, and which don't, is still not clear.
Correct.
Legally.
Yeah.
That I understand. It's where do we post that I don't understand. That's my question. Does anyone
What?
know where we post?
You mean
well, there's a,
currently?
Where will
I've
where will
seen-
we have
It
our?
says
Kim and
on
I
the
have looked at
website.
other towns, and they have audio.
A designated electronic location.
Right, what is that?
Which would be your website
website.
or
Your
a
website.
link on the website.
Yeah.
To
Our
someplace
the
else.
way ours
Zooms
is.
aren't on the website.
Yeah.
For the select board.
There's a link to GNAT
To
to get that.
GNAT,
So there's
no,
access
yeah,
to it, but
fine.
it's not. Yeah,
That we can use that as the.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think
Okay.
so. I don't know. That, and that's what I'm saying about like all the other like
We're gonna
links to the
find out.
laws. Like
Yeah.
there's
I-
access to it
I
on
think
our
if you're
website.
trying to
And I have gone through and put on
follow the
every
rules,
committee
okay.
access to the open meeting law and that. So, every time you click on like planning commission, it does pop up now and it's on the main webpage, but I just don't know if it should read like how to file a violation, click here on every single thing, I don't know. I don't know that anyone,
No.
Yeah, that
It's
is that I
there,
get,
yeah.
that I get. I just wanna know what our electronic location is.
yeah,
Someone should know what.
our hub,
It's gonna be.
Our website.
it's gonna
it would be I don't think it'd be GNAT because they retain all of our select board stuff, but they don't do planning commission or DRB. Like that's not, so it would have to be Zoom and then do we
But
get,
for those other, well, unless they're considered quasi judicial, then it would be the same thing, but it says posted in a designated electronic location. So if they were Zoom.
So if there's a Zoom link to the
So there would
meeting
be a
and it's
Zoom
on
link,
the
right.
and it's
website,
recorded, that's
then why
it,
wouldn't
you've
that-
done it.
solve the intent.
Because
I
our
think you're
town
right,
only
Howard.
has,
Yeah.
right, Kim, like we only have so much storage there.
That I don't know. I will have to check with our web designer to see
Yeah,
how
I
much
think
storage
they're
we can
gonna
have.
somewhere
But
else.
again, I thought there was a time
Yeah.
frame
This thing's
that,
It
big
just suck up
files.
Yeah.
huge.
Kim is
cost.
talking and no one can hear.
Poor Kim.
whatever. So
supposed
we'll
to
check
come
with
out
the
of
web
here.
designer and find out what our parameters are, and we'll start posting as soon as we can.
It's supposed to come out of one of them.
That's the speaker, right? And that's what we
Yeah.
speak into. It's almost like something on her end is not letting.
So you still can't hear me?
Okay, all right. This is not gonna get
Yeah,
settled.
we-
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
week, so
yeah.
I just,
I
my
think we
question
move on.
is.
Let's put
I
it
think
on
for
the
right
meeting.
now,
Electronic
if someone
location.
looked at our stuff, they would say,
Yeah, we're fine.
we're okay.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But we need Kim for the.
Yeah, for the audit review, we definitely need Kim.
Well, didn't we already do this? I don't understand what we're
Oh, well, we
doing.
got,
Now
we
we
have
have
the,
the
we have the
summary
transmittal
and the-
letter.
Well,
That-
this is
that's-
the same issues that we already discussed, though.
Well, there's some new issues,
This
I
is,
think.
this is the May 24th, the May 20th letter.
Yeah, the difference is that in the previous thing, they did not make recommendations. They provided findings, but not recommendations.
Yeah, we've got a lot of
And
recommendations.
then the new thing, they've included 4 pages of recommendations.
Oh, do you-
And some
specific
quite
things.
pointed.
And
see, he has one, there might be another one that looks, it's right here, it's right here.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Oh, yeah, because we didn't get it till
Yeah.
after you would grab your thing this morning.
Oh, okay. This is also.
no
May.
teachers
It's
leave
the
it
first
home.
three
Hi,
pages are the
sorry.
same.
I don't know what's going on.
Hi there.
Hi.
Kim, you're sounding good.
Talk on it.
Oh, yay. So this was the final management letter. And different than your prior letter. What? Are you hearing feedback or is that just me?
No, it's,
A little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, should we
Yeah.
turn off some of these things here?
Or
I would
turn them
turn
away
that
from the
off.
phone.
can you hear us now, Kim?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. So one of the big ones was they added a fraud assessment.
Right,
And I reached out to one of the partners to find out what that would entail, so I can come back with information on it.
Okay.
And then they just had much more detailed recommendations. One of them had to do,
That's not even plugged in. So I don't know.
I think it's for
maybe we'll hold off meetings and I'll come in person.
Okay,
I think so.
Sorry.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, well, bye.
bye,
Thank you.
Kim.
okay, that, we've
Now we're
got,
on. The
wow,
Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
good.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Perfect.
Do I have a motion to that effect, sir?
Oh, wow, he's aggressive.
Do we need to plug this back in?
Okay,
I think we need to upgrade our.
That is on the agenda
Yeah,
for
we
next
definitely do.
2 weeks, in 2 weeks,
Oh,
it's
good.
on the agenda. And I am,
We'll just have to read our lips for 3 weeks.
okay, so we're, in payroll and get to the old and new. So payroll, hold on.
A lot of papers there, Jim.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion that we accept payroll check warrant number 12 in the amount of $7,528.67.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
No.
All in favor?
I
Aye. Okay.
Is, I'm gonna make a motion that we accept accounts payable. Report number 12 in the amount of $36,856.21.
I second.
You got those? Yeah. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Who's Linda
Whoop.
Sherman?
Aye,
She's
the
she helps the
lister's
listers
assessor,
assessor.
she's a contract.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
And
That's the-
Fun ones also, or just?
Oh, that's the
That's part of-
detail. That's just the
part of-
detail.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
each is in every,
Well, I see.
I didn't remember all the
Oh, was
stuff
there a
being
third one? There
attached
wasn't a third
before.
one, was
I
there?
don't think so.
I think it was just the two.
That's all I've got in my package.
This, yeah, this is the real package with all the
Yeah.
Okay,
receipts attached.
yeah. That's a, yeah, the signature page. Wake up.
Oh,
It
tired
is,
today.
so it is,
I'm- yeah.
so, yeah.
So far past my bedtime. Okay. The, where is that,
The memo, you want my memo?
no, yeah, is that the one that Kim, yeah, I think that's the only one we've got.
You had
Yes,
one.
thank you.
Oh,
I
do you
was
have
yours-
one in your
No,
package?
you had one because you had it in real ink. I had one that was.
Could be in the blue binder.
It's fine, use mine. It's not the end of the world.
We're talking about this.
Yes.
Is that in blue ink? It was right on top of the
No.
thing and I started
Is
passing it
that
around.
mess?
Yes.
You're like, oh,
This one?
So we've got the new pay scale, and the ones that we proposed that at our last meeting were for Alman,
Mhm.
Byron, Huey, and Jeff.
I don't know, was Byron in on that?
I think
I'm
it's
sorry,
in
no,
general.
I'm sorry,
It
I'm
was
sorry,
wasn't, yeah.
I misspoke. Alman,
Hugh Hart, Almond, Crandall, Jeff Yorkshire.
Huey. Right, just
Yep. Correct.
those three.
And then Kim just sent a text on the signature needed for raises. Can you tell them? Just asking for approval to adjust Ann's wage to be in line with the market and the tasks that she's doing, not Byron.
Okay,
Oh, I think that was, sorry.
so I'm gonna jump the gun here. We did that for the guys who work for us and, I would trust Kim to make a similar kind of decision for the folks that work for her.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's just, that's not what that was for.
Yeah.
That's not what we did that for. So
Right,
I'm not saying Ann's not worth the rate increase. Then why do we set 3.8? I mean, we know what happened with the road crew. We
Yeah.
totally get what happened there.
but
So
it's a similar kind of thing. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm inclined to
It's
sign off on it, I think, yeah.
okay.
But that doesn't mean,
Well, I'm looking at Sean,
No.
so
Yeah.
I'm just, do we?
I'm gonna move,
You're all
well,
saying.
do we have maybe would anybody be willing to,
How about we have
So
another,
move to
how about we
accept it?
have another executive session where we discuss pay increases for everyone else not related to the road crew. The road crew popped up, we made a quick decision. I say we set an executive session next week when Denny can be here, and that'll give us a chance to talk to Kim.
okay,
And
does that give you time?
we'll include Kim's people and Sean's.
Well, these are supposed to be
See
effective
what
on
happens.
July.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's when the pay raises or the increases are scheduled.
Yeah,
So do we delay the,
well, they would go into
Yeah,
effect that day.
The three we already voted on have to go through July 1st. So do we go through with the 3.8 as of July 1 and make changes to anyone that needs an adjustment then? I'm
We can
conflicted.
cer-
I
we can
believe
certainly-
Kim, I know Kim thinks that Anna's worth it, and I'm not disagreeing. I just think there's other employees here, and we're doing this all out in the open, which is not what we did with the other.
Kim
scenario.
said yes to Lisa's suggestion.
Yep. Let's go with what was approved. The motion was made and was approved. And then we will hold another meeting in executive and we will discuss with Kim in attendance. And we will discuss,
Yeah,
So the 3.8 will go into effect.
correct,
Right,
automatically.
okay.
That's what we voted on back at budgeting time. That will automatically
Okay.
happen.
I got it. So I have,
Now it can be signed.
yep, okay, I'm
Oh, motion.
on, yeah, so we need a motion to sign the 2024 pay increases, consistent with, Kim's memo to us dated June 25th.
I'll second that.
So moved.
And you're gonna second it, okay.
Oh.
So Chris made the motion.
I
He
forget.
copied and
shit.
pasted.
Got it.
No, it's fine.
Lisa seconded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
any other discussion?
Before it happened.
Yeah.
only because I'm confused, but that's okay. I'll sign.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Okay,
mean, technically, we voted on this already, right?
yeah,
Right, there's
We're-
just,
So,
This was just operational.
she just needed this, an official,
okay.
and made
thing
a
for us.
recommendation,
Yeah.
and we will take that up. Can you put on the next,
Yes.
yeah,
For the other
the
rates.
other?
yeah. No, we voted it on it ourselves, but Kim wanted to have it memorialized in a,
Mhm.
rather than me giving her a 3x5 index card with 4 numbers written on it.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
I have a few things.
Thank you.
One of them was just, you get all these emails, in between meetings, and so I have a couple of those items, but I'm just like, as a matter of practice, like, some of them we don't respond to at all. and I feel
Nobody
like-
responds to any of
I
them.
feel like they just disappear. Some of them come up,
Yeah.
some of them get on the agenda, some of them disappear into the ether. And I think we should have some standard procedure, like if we don't respond, then it automatically goes to the agenda, or it just some.
No, I
process.
just don't know.
So-
Natalie said, all the emails you get, you forward out. The select board will respond to you if they want it on the agenda. But there are things that I feel like
No,
we're
but there's-
gonna miss.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that we should talk about
Yeah.
on there. I have some of them written down, but I just think we need to agree for some process, so it doesn't just
Just go
disappear.
We
disappear.
can't have lengthy interactions about the items, because then we're subject to open meeting law. So her letting us all know what's come through, it is our job to let her know if we want it on the agenda, or if it meets. If you say, yeah, I'd like to discuss that at a meeting, then we can discuss it at an open meeting. But we can't have backroom meetings with emails, so she has to send it all to us, so.
Right,
But then what's.
but I think that, let me try to say what I think you were saying, which is, if Shauna sends out something that she, suggests should be on the agenda, unless she hears that it shouldn't be on the agenda, it is going to show up on the agenda. That's gonna be our protocol.
If she suggests
If she suggests it.
it. Yeah, there's
Unless
stuff
we
that's-
say it shouldn't, unless she gets some feedback that it shouldn't be on the agenda,
Right.
it's going on the agenda.
Does that sound like a reasonable
It
plan?
certainly sounds reasonable to me, because
Because if it's quick, then we just dismiss it quickly. that
Exactly.
It's there, so we can look at it.
exactly,
And,
in person, and then either decide we don't wanna, we just, okay, we're not, that's a non-issue, we're moving on.
right,
But that way, and in something that should be on the agenda and doesn't get approved to go on the agenda, doesn't fall off the face of the earth, and then we all forget about it, and I would rather have things, have more things on the agenda than fewer things on the agenda, because losing something that's important on the agenda
Or
is
there's
not good
something
practice.
that matters to somebody. So,
Yeah.
that's,
Or
if we get a constituent question, so to speak.
Yeah,
And remember, new and old business is not used for voting things. So if there's an item that really needs to be voted on, it is supposed to be an actual
Mhm.
item agenda.
that's right.
And not kind of tucked in at the end as old business, let's vote on that. So keep in mind that if it's a voting item, it definitely has to meet the agenda
Exactly,
that's a good
line
point.
item.
yes.
So let's try it that way for
What do you
a
got?
month or two,
Tell us what you got. What's on your list?
and, okay. Well, do we need a motion for that, or are we just
We're just gonna
agreeing?
do it. We're
All
doing
right,
it.
so,
I think
You
we're just
comfortable
agreeing
with
that
that?
that's
Totally.
what's gonna happen, yeah.
okay, good.
That's just a
I'll
procedural.
feel better ignoring emails that way.
Totally. Me too.
No, I just never knew what to respond with. All right, so there's the VLCT insurance for employees, which wouldn't cost us anything. I have no idea whether anybody in the office or any of the town employees wants any of that. Did you look at that email?
Yes, so that's a survey asking if we should offer that stuff, and that they'll pick it up if someone wants it, but no one wants to fill out the survey, so I don't know.
So there's, if
There's
I understood it, there's
three-
no cost to the town, it's just something that is a pass through to any town employee.
I think it's any town employee that carries the insurance, through VLC. Like, I don't have insurance through here, so I wouldn't pick up their
It's Kim and the three guys.
Kim and the three
Kim
guys.
and the three.
So it's 4 employees.
So someone might want it and it's no cost to us,
Correct.
why wouldn't we offer it to them?
But I think everybody who wants it.
There's supplemental things that they're offering, like,
Oh.
it's like an à la carte thing, you can do a little this, a little that.
Oh,
Yeah, why don't you just reach out to the 3 and 4 employees?
Yeah.
And ask them if there's anything they want off the menu. And then.
Yeah.
And if it's a yes, then great.
Yeah, I mean, this,
But it was just a survey, right?
It's just a survey because I'm not sure VLCT is offering that stuff yet. The survey was to say, yes, I think our employees would do that.
Would you,
Okay.
would you want it,
So,
would
yeah.
you want it offered?
Right, it was
Just
like
ask them
asking the
and-
town for some
so fill
reason.
it out.
I don't know. I don't know. I have to look at the survey again. My impression was VLCT was like, hey, you know what? We also have these things that we could pick up if all your towns have interest in it. I don't think that it's an offer yet. So like if I say to Almond, or not Almond, but like if I say to Huey, do you want the extra?
No,
Don't say,
if
"Do
it
you
was
want-"
offered.
If it
would
was
you-
offered,
Would that
right.
be of interest to you? And just,
Right,
we'll get yeses and nos and.
Okay.
That will help you fill out your survey.
Yeah.
okay.
Got it.
Okay, the other one was the beaver control letter, do we still need to talk about the beavers? or-
Oh, yes.
I have sent the
Actually, I've
letter
got some
to
new-
Denny and no one has, Denny, I mean, it's not
Denny?
signed. Yeah, I mean, I sent it, what is her name? Kim Price sent me the letter that was for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
old
yeah.
thing, but I have done nothing else with it because no one has said
Right, and I got a copy of that letter. It's, this is specifically up on, above upstream Kyle Road. And I talked to a resident of Kyle Road who is going to talk to the landowner directly above, who owns the land where all the beavers are above the bridge on Kyle Road. She's gonna have that conversation, and I met the landowner very briefly. She loves the beavers, and that might present a problem, but this better friend of the owner of the property that the beavers are on is going to have a chat with her, and then we're gonna send a letter after she's done that.
Okay.
Had that chat, so next week that we'll be able to send out that letter.
Yeah, I just need to know
Hopefully.
who to send it to.
Exactly, and I've got all that information, so that's the update. Yeah, thank you, I would have forgotten that. Would I? No, I wouldn't have, it was on my list. Kyle Road Beaver letter.
Well,
Lord have
these
mercy.
beavers disappear.
Hot topic.
Yeah.
Another state thing is the ethics policy, and I meant to go back and look at this, but it's also, we just need to have a conflict of interest. Or is this, you sent around the draft or the existing conflict?
What
of
we have
interest?
on our website.
On our website.
Yeah.
And what was the, and is there any reason to believe that that's not sufficient?
I do not know.
It-
I
it-
don't,
Yeah, and yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It looked to me like it was sufficient, but the auditors also made
Yeah, I think,
mention of a,
I think they all need to be
Policy.
rewritten, yeah.
yeah,
that they thought was maybe either insufficient or maybe they didn't.
All
Pick
right,
it
so
up,
maybe
I
we
don't
should
know.
put it on the next agenda to
It
discuss
will.
our conflict of interest.
So I was
Yeah.
going to thought, you know, with all the policies that are listed there, there are still some from like 1956, there's some from 77. I was gonna try to put a policy on a month.
Good idea.
Hopefully,
To review and.
To review.
either accept
Yeah,
it
that
And
was a
accept.
lot.
it's a lot.
There's a lot.
There is a lot. It's a little bit of a can of worms.
Mhm.
Well, it's a big.
It's
yeah.
all,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all gonna be reviewed, but honestly, almost a month isn't enough per policy, to be completely honest. I mean, we.
Well, some of the,
I did
like-
The planning commission thing, and I'm like, again, another hard read with everything else and all the others, and, yeah, so we have to space those things.
Do we have any idea which ones are most, well, they're dated, right? So why don't you start
They're
with the older
dated.
ones?
I think we should do the personnel policy first,
Oh, yeah,
right?
well,
That we're kind of is in
we
the
have to
works,
do that,
and
yeah.
then go from there. Yeah, there's some random like parking ones that I don't know.
No,
Or,
yeah, I
you
think,
know.
yeah, the conflict of interest.
Where,
one,
yeah, so it's.
we have to
Yeah,
do.
so the personnel policy, really the key elements to updating the personnel policy is, I see it right now, are the vacation and sick leave, which is also, and how best to handle that from the standpoint of doing what's right by the employees, trying to keep a generous vacation and
Mhm.
leave and sick leave policy in place, but being able to do the accounting for it correctly, so that one, it's, because that's also an item on the recommendations from the audit.
Yeah.
Is that there's a deficiency there in how the money is being accounted,
Yeah.
et cetera. And so there's, appearances anyway of double counting and that sort of thing.
Right, that's the one
And,
thing Kim wanted
And
to
then we have
address,
to
but
figure out how best to pay it out.
Right.
And whether we enforce the current rule or not. So that's probably the biggest holdup there in getting the rest of it written. And I'm working in bits and pieces on it. I was gonna try, as I sent around the other day, I was gonna try to just update the, what I call it a PD, position description thing, which lists all the, the vacation allocations and all that. So that would be the first step, I think. And then the policy itself, we can review probably by the end of the month. I'm just not gonna rush it. Yeah, I rushed it the first time.
Right.
threw it back in my face, so, I'm gonna take and do it one step,
Yeah.
kind of one step at a time to try to get it right, so we don't have to redo it or rehash it
Right.
again.
And it is a lot.
It is a lot, for sure. I think the basic things are figuring out, we did add some holidays, the
Right,
sick
but
time,
yeah.
all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And then the payout, we have to decide what to do with this, and this needs to be done before we hire the new person, and it really does, it really does.
Well,
It
I
was-
disagree, but.
We all sat at a table and said, we will not hire anyone until we finish this personnel policy. So we do need to get that part done. I think that the sick days do not carry over. If you don't use them, you can take them, in those last things. I don't know how we expect him to keep track of
Well,
5
and that's
years,
what,
10 years.
Tim and I, for about the fifth time now, and there's always been good reasons for it. We're gonna try to meet again tomorrow and hash through exactly that.
Yeah, that would be my thing. Nobody needs to make this complicated, more complicated than it is.
Now,
So-
and it could be very simple and quickly done, or maybe not, depends what. But when I talk to Kim,
If
how
we don't-
difficult it is.
If we don't carry over, then
The payroll
It's
process.
pretty darn
doesn't
simple.
keep track of all this?
Hmm?
Do we have a payroll process?
yeah, we have a payroll program.
Oh, program, we do.
We have a
our own
payroll
payroll.
program, and the program allows her to dump in 8 hours of sick pay for every day that someone is sick. And then it goes into a fund. And then when it goes to get paid out, the going back 10 years, 15 years, or 3 years, to figure out what the rate is that it went in at to this fund is where we're running into. And is it like first in, first out, so that's the complication, and she's got a full day of work doing other treasurer duties, digging back in to find out if
No, yeah, she
22.15
wouldn't be able to go
versus
back.
22.35 versus whatever, so
Yeah,
our
right.
our collective thing was, why are we making this so difficult for her? You take it in the year that you get it, you get a number January 1st, that's your pay rate. And for the rest of your year, that's your rate for your sick day, and you take them and,
Or
and-
1 July, as well as.
right, so,
Okay.
and
so
and
we'll talk
maybe
about this next
similar
meeting.
for the vacation as well, I mean.
Probably be 2 meetings.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, great. Okay, quick, we done with that one?
Yeah.
All right, a quick update on the HUD guy, so his name's Sean Thomas. So he thinks that the feds are gonna allocate money to them, this is like, whatever it was, 100 million, 150 million, in early 2025, and I asked him how long it would take to trickle down, and he said actually only probably 2 months.
Mm.
Which is
That's
astonishingly
exciting.
quickly for the
Right.
federal government.
Fiscal year or calendar?
I think,
Well, they
Calendar.
go
good
calendar
question, I
year,
think it
we
was
do fiscal,
calendar
right?
year.
We start January 1st, right?
Yeah, but the federal government doesn't.
January 1st.
No,
Oh.
September,
Oh,
Yeah,
October,
Anyway, so
the 1st of October.
this was the community development block grant that, as we were talking about earlier, they do require, you having your ducks in a row, engineering reports, whatever, make it look official. And so I was just throwing things out there, and he said, yeah, you could apply for a dam, the playhouse is a possibility, the firehouse is a possibility. You can, he also said to look at Homeland Security for the firehouse, because they have money for that kind of thing, if you phrase it properly.
mhm.
And what else did he say? Yeah, so the state is looking for, it's all administered by the state, they're looking for competence, so if you have, like, for instance, for the dam, if this report comes back from the engineer saying you need to take it down, then you have a document that makes the state happy, right? If, for the fire station, I dug into that a little bit, she said you would just need a report saying it needs to be moved, and you might be able to get the State Department of Emergency Management to give you that, either to give you a grant or to come down and give you a report. But they were just using that as an example of like, you need some kind of documentation to justify your existence. The bridge, you know, you would need AOT or someone to come in and say, yeah, that needs to go up 3 feet. And it's an 80-20 match thing, but he said that if we kept track of how many volunteer hours we put into cleaning up after the flood, have you know about this? You can use that as your
resource.
matching fund.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
So we can,
And this is for the HUD ones.
Yeah.
specifically? Okay.
yeah. So that's just to keep in mind that there's potential money for some projects early next year.
So this is the nagging question.
Sound too easy.
Well, none of them are easy, but I will say that once you're
There's
in it,
groundwork.
yeah, it's like a lot of, it's almost so much that it's scary and that it's overwhelming. And we all have lives and jobs and what have you. So getting things off the ground is really hard here. It's just hard because I don't want to commit to something I can't finish. And I don't want to commit to something that I can't give 110% to. So how do we get some of these things? I mean, this is the third grant that we've all been talking about, and we all want a piece of that pie.
Well, maybe we hire someone.
So we
Well,
talked
that's,
about Maggie
I'll
and
talk to Maggie.
Yeah, I mean, I think
so,
it would more than pay for itself.
Oh,
You just get one of these grants and it's paid for itself, right? And that's what.
is there any restrictions? Is there any holdbacks? Is there anything that you saw that was like a?
Congress could put something in there, but he says. So, and this is the only reason, you know, this is a big chunk. That this isn't their normal year. You can do this every year, but they're getting a huge chunk in this one because of the flood. So normally every year it's just a small pot of money.
Yeah.
But this is our one chance at a big pot of money. So
a
that's
big guy.
that's
big
the
one, yeah.
reason that it's important.
Anything
Is-
strike you? Like, do you have anything that's like?
Well, I think if, you know, if we really need to do that bridge, like, I like the bridge the way it is myself, but if we have to raise it or.
Isn't
But we're
the
also-
bridge the big dollar item?
But we're also
Absolutely.
got we've got two, we have the
Can we pay for it?
other one
otherwise?
and yeah, right, so do we do all three? Do we pick three separate, I mean, I don't know.
And
I
someone
don't
was
know.
saying that it's easy to get money to take down the dam. I forget, someone said that. one of these
That was
meetings.
probably me, because it is.
So if we can, if it's easy to get money for that, then we use this for something else. But
The bridge is
obviously-
gonna be a tough one, but this Rivers program that Wyndham Regional is running through the Ottaquechee two rivers, you know, Wadada. The whole point of that is we're doing the hydraulic study with Du Bois and King. We'll have those results in August. But the point of this Rivers grant that is Alyssa Sabeto is working on with Two Rivers, is to fund the two projects that they think are gonna come out of the hydraulic study in Weston, which is the dam and the bridge.
Oh, okay.
They've got a couple of other things in Londonderry that they're gonna work on, and yet another couple of things that they're gonna work on down in Jamaica. All those three towns each have two or maybe three, but in our case, two, you know, major projects that are going to be funded, hopefully, if they can get properly justified by this Rivers grant, which is gonna come, hopefully, they can get that money at the end of this year or the beginning of 2025. And fingers crossed, if the hydraulic study that D&K is doing shows what we think it's gonna show, then you know, maybe we'll have funding for that, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well,
Do
there's no
you-
hurry on this.
Do you, well, there is, because we don't wanna be at the tail end of everything.
No,
I don't wanna follow it, we've been really good about jumping on stuff, let's lead. Do you think that Maggie would be, because I'm just thinking the HUD project might be a great fire department project, or
yeah,
I just envision the town of Weston having a place where it is our emergency
exactly.
coordination location,
Combined with the fire department. Like
combined with the
one-
fire
one
department.
building, yeah.
One space, everything's there, generated, you know, it's got all the pieces of the puzzle, so would that, do you think that Maggie would be open to working with?
She understands that that's one of the leading line items in our wish list, the fire department, so.
I guess I'm not saying fire department so much as I am like,
Emergency
resource
yeah,
center,
including
like-
it in something bigger.
Yeah.
Emergency
Some-
management and emergency services, and emergency management is the other area that we will eventually need to face.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, it is a real
And-
need.
And right now we're using Kim's, well, Kim is no longer, Kim is longer, she's here, but Kim's ownership of the place that we would send people is, she doesn't own it anymore.
Right.
So we were
Nor
using,
do they, like Brandemeyer's, that was listed as
Yeah.
well. The little school is listed as a place to go, but the little school is also a high risk place.
it's a
The
high risk,
whole plan is a mess.
it's a mess. The locations are a mess.
Yes.
So right now, our number one go-to, and if we had a flood tonight, we would tell people to go to the Rod and Gun Club. We have had good communications with them, the fire department has had good communications with them. But a place like that everything could sort of,
Not everybody can get there,
Right, not a lot of, right.
Yeah, yeah,
depending on where the flooding is.
yeah, we should.
well,
should-
that's,
Some point we
can say
need to
that
talk
about
to
any
anyways,
place.
The people who bought the Colonial from Kim, because I bet they would, I mean,
Right, but
it's not,
I believe that what I'm looking for is like a hub center that doesn't happen to be right here in Flood Central.
yeah.
Right.
And we can
has
get
the
there from
facilities.
here, there's always a way. If we can't do it on 100, we do just, you know, you go up Priory Hill and you go down Old County and you cut across, I mean, there's always
totally.
another way to get
Greendale up Jenny Coolidge,
the easy
John
way.
Moses
Yep,
Pond to
exactly,
Lawrence Hill Road.
yep,
Mhm.
yep, and that's how you get there, and then you go up Trout Club.
And then there's
just
that
for
damn
fun.
stop sign.
So I'm kind of intrigued by that whole project to include something that we already know we want, but then
need.
maybe adding something to it to really make it a full-on,
Yeah, so
something or other.
we need some kind of paperwork to justify that.
like a,
So we get the Vermont, what was it, the Vermont Emergency Management people, Vermont, State Department of Emergency Management. And can give us
The
the
Vermont State Department of,
emergency management.
this isn't the federal State Department.
No.
we just- And they might do it themselves, or they might give us money to have someone come in and say. What we need.
or at least give us a template or a something to work from so that we can sort of get it off the
Yeah,
ground.
because
And then-
it makes sense to have it all integrated into the firehouse facility.
Well, that's
Or
the
here.
only,
Would that be V?
that's the only show in town, I think. You know, in terms of emergency management and people that are equipped and trained and all of that to handle those, you know, a multitude of things in addition to fires, rescue and that sort of thing. So I think that should be the focal point.
All right,
And is it possible to, well, I'm just throwing out ideas here, this is for another discussion, but funding, the town fund a position at, with the fire department that involves emergency management.
Yeah, so just remember that we have had prior discussions, prior select board meetings about when the flood was over, was the town going to turn over the building and everything to do with the fire department back to the Weston Volunteer Fire Department Inc. or, yeah, the League
Mhm.
Corporation. They wanna run it the way they wanna run it. Because right now they're kind of half in, half out. Some of the stuff they have to do our way because it's municipal money. And some of the stuff they can do their way because it's money they've raised and they can do it the way they want to. So there's a bigger picture to adding. I don't want to add anything more to the mess, but I have spoken with Josh Allison and he is ready to take over ownership and everything. And that was something that we had talked about. So we will have to have yet another conversation about that. But the building and the facility and the things that can go alongside of it, near it, next door to it, behind it, to give people internet. The fire department will have internet. Generators, they will have the generator. You know, it'll be one all-encompassing safe place to go for Weston. Right now, it's town office or the Weston Rod and Gun Club. They don't have internet, and I don't think they have a generator either.
Yeah, I mean, it should have a
So,
kitchen and.
They have a kitchen,
Yep.
but they don't have a generator, and they don't.
Right.
We could help them
Alright,
get some of
well-
those things. So
Yeah.
anyway, that led right into what I was thinking was a bigger project.
That is a big master project, and need to have somebody lead that, yes.
That's why I said, if we can get it off the ground, can we get to Maggie and say, this is what we were thinking, this is what we're doing?
Yeah, good question.
I don't know. I don't know if
I don't
we're
either.
pushing her.
I mean, and I look at all the issues surrounding finding a piece of land to assuming that removing the dam isn't going to reduce the flooding upstream so that we can use the existing firehouse, which is a possibility. But you know, with all the dirt roads that and I've had this conversation with Josh and Jen many times. You know what roads washed out in the July flood. So you can cross those all off your list. You need to fill in, just pick the places where you could put a firehouse and the places where you can't, and then see where that leads you in terms of possibilities. And
I think Josh has got some good ideas. I think, I think.
Well, he
he's-
nodded his head, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen anything.
Well, that planning commission map was pretty,
Well,
enlightening
exactly,
this morning.
exactly.
The
Oh,
map
did you
up.
go to the thing? I'm
Yeah.
going tomorrow.
Yeah, it's worth your while.
They should overlay that map with the flood zone map, and then you'll see how little
Yeah, I mean,
available land there is to
and
develop.
then you get in your car or you get on the land records and you see who owns the land and whether, I mean, it's not gonna be a trivial exercise.
No,
You know, this isn't like, upper New York State or upper Vermont where you're just trying to, I'm looking for a hunting camp and I'm looking for some raw land. It's not like that. It's gotta be in Weston. It can't be on a road that's gonna flood. It can't, and
It's on a road that floods now.
I know.
right?
Yeah.
right.
Well, the thing about the road that floods now is that when the water goes away, the road's still there. There's a huge percentage of the roads up in town, those other roads,
Yeah.
that when the water goes away, there's no road.
Yeah.
And you can't put a fire department there because you can't get to it, or you can't get your equipment out of it. And that's a bad bargain. And I get a headache thinking about the complexity of
Well, it'll be
trying to
interesting
find
hear
that
what
place.
ideas he has.
I mean, the land just north of Mike Savage that's
Oh, yeah.
for sale, that would be, wow, that would be perfect, right on Route 100, it doesn't
Who owns
flood.
that now?
I don't know, it's changed hands a couple of
changed hands
times.
a bunch.
I think it's still owned by the guy out of Londonderry, right?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know,
Stoddard?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
where
believe
I've
they
been
own it
seeing
anymore.
but
I don't think Chad.
that's gonna be an
Oh,
expensive
Chad
piece of
doesn't,
land.
yeah, Chad doesn't own it. No.
No.
Chad sold it,
To someone.
yeah, to someone. They put the stone up. As a matter of fact, they had somebody up in there.
It was
orange vests, and I don't know if they're surveying or if they're engineers or if they're looking for tree stuff, who knows, they could have even been some of the.
I thought it was the Green
Yeah,
Mountain,
Green
it was,
Mountain
the
Power.
truck said
Very
like
relevant.
TSS or something.
So.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's an ideal,
Yeah, that's a
unused
great
piece
piece of
of-
land, but that's not, I mean, you know, when do you buy that land? Do you buy it and then?
20 years
Should've bought
ago.
it 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, you know, under every
5
piece of
years
land
ago.
and.
I think the new people paid 160. So.
Alright, do we need a motion to adjourn?
Do we have any other
We just wanted
business?
you to. You made it
Hold
through
on.
your list?
Yes.
I had one final update on the generator,
Oh,
Yes.
okay, so, they should have received a check. I talked to the guy today and he said, oh yeah, I think I saw an email on that, so I said, well, let's try to get together and make sure that we have all our ducks in order. and
yeah,
Stuff like that. His assistant, who's gonna order the generators, on leave this week. He's gonna be on leave the next week and all that, but we're, you know, it should fall into place though. They
good,
want it and they're gonna
good.
do it. And I've scheduled a meeting with him here to look at the site on the 10th of July
Perfect,
at 9 o'clock.
great.
Right out on the side
Yeah.
here. And if there's any site particular things or questions that we may have about placement of the tanks or whatever, we can do that. I'll try to get Alman, well, that's why I mentioned it to him before he left. So I'll try to make sure Alman's there, so, you know, if we're gonna build something that we build
Can
the
you
right thing.
ask HB,
Mhm.
what do they want from us? Do they want a concrete slab? Do they want it boxed in? What is the size, you know, what don't they do to complete this project?
Okay, they would put it on the ground in a 4x4 timber frame filled with 10 bags of gravel. Okay, we said we wanted it on a platform, we built a platform.
To raise that?
Yeah, 3 feet is what we decided at the last meeting, and Will and I walked the ground this morning. A good one, because I just had questions about if we needed a permit, what kind of things would we need to include, does this look right? And that's when he came up, well, this is, even though, you know, we're in the flood plain, or whatever the terminology, so.
Real
Yeah.
erosion area.
He said,
Velocity. Ooh, that's a good one.
and Will said that Weston's going to put a generator in for the town hall. It will be in the floodway, but will meet the requirements of Weston zoning bylaws, section 407G. I'll have to look that up. I have no idea what that means. But then he asked a series of questions, which are lettered and numbered in such a strange way, I can't figure out why. And to the state guy about, you know, what our zoning things say. And then he said, is there any conditional use permit? Will this require a conditional use permit or hearing?
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Wow.
yeah, well, I would hope not, but I'm not the one who.
Yeah.
I just asked.
That was to whom?
That went, and I, when I printed the email, it did not give me to
Ah.
Kyle. Anybody know Kyle?
Somebody named Kyle.
Yeah, he's at the state. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Alright.
I gotcha. It's a generator. It's not a living unit.
Well, no,
It's not,
oh,
you know,
but we're gonna build a structure.
But it
to put
falls
it on.
under the 144 square.
Never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
An accessory structure.
Is there, so and the reason I'm asking this is that they're putting gravel down, no problem.
No, they're not going to, because we said we're building a structure.
So almond structure needs to be on something.
It's gonna be on a concrete pad, he'll dig it,
Bing, bing, bing.
yeah.
Who's digging it? Who's digging
Almond is
it?
digging it, he's digging it. He is, just like we did over in the little school.
And he
Okay.
agreed the last meeting as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
He's gonna dig and pour for the slab.
Right.
And then
Whatever.
put something on top of
And then,
that.
and then
something
his
on top of
metal
it.
Although
frame,
I thought he was just gonna put posts in, didn't dig them down, but I don't know.
Whatever he
Whatever
he
I
decides,
did not.
he's gonna
specify.
do it,
He's gonna do it,
And
and he
it's
knows
gonna
what we want.
and it's going
And
to
the
be fine.
measurements.
We need to know that. He, you know, whether he pours a concrete pad or buries those posts and has his stand
piers, yeah, the piers.
anchored on the corners. Almond,
We have to trust him.
he's
to
done
do
this
that.
before,
Yeah.
and
I didn't say I didn't trust him. I said, do we need to do anything?
no,
You don't put a frame on top of gravel,
No,
period.
no,
And so when he said
it's not.
gravel in a box,
No,
I
no,
asked the
no.
question.
That was if we
No.
didn't have our frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Almond's handling it.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes.
I'm
Have we moved?
full of faith. We're adjourned.
Adjourned.
Sorry for the long
No,
meeting,
it's
Shauna.
fine.
I apologize.